The following is a presentation of Flow Sports.
This is the greatest short track spectacle of the summer.
This is the Slinger Nationals.
Racing's best have gathered once again to partake in one of July's great racing traditions, all in pursuit of their chance at history.
That was an awareness nudge, and nudge again. Johnny Sauter to lead at Slinger.
Ty Majeski wins his fourth Slinger Nationals. Here in Slinger, Wisconsin, where we are back once again. You just saw Ty Majeski right there, who won his fourth Slinger Nationals a year ago. He'll try to win his fifth in the 47th annual Cobblestone Hotel Slinger Nationals, presented by Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend. And of course, that will take place tomorrow, but we got plenty of action for you here tonight, live on Flow Racing. I'm Blake McCandless. I'll be joined in the booth by Jim Trado in just a couple of minutes. We'll also have Bob Dillner capturing all the stories down trackside. And again, like I mentioned, plenty of action going on here at the Speedway throughout this afternoon. We have had multiple practice sessions for the super late models looking to compete for the Larry Degens Memorial Trophy tomorrow night, as well as the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series presented by Chevrolet Performance. In fact, they just wrapped up their qualifying session. They have 100 laps ready to go later on today. As you take a look at this beautiful facility and all 33 degrees of banking that it sports in its corners. Should be a fun one tonight on Flow Racing. In fact, the weather has been a topic of discussion over the last couple of weeks. The Wisconsin area has been seeing some heat, and we have felt it here today. It's cooled down to about 89 degrees. They expect it to get as high as about 94, 95 degrees or so in the middle of the day tomorrow. So we'll continue to cool down throughout the course of this afternoon and evening, but has been a talking point with many of the drivers that we were discussing throughout the last couple of moments. So we take a look at Slinger Speedway. Why don't we go ahead and welcome the third member of our broadcast team, Bob Dillner. How are things going down there in the pits?
Well, Blake, what's not to like about Wisconsin in the summertime? Beer, cheese curds, and certainly Slinger Speedway. And this place is loaded with some top names across the country in super late model racing. But how about the driver of that car? Tomorrow will be Carson Hocevar, a winner in the NASCAR Cup Series this year. But the special thing about this place is you got a bunch of locals that are going to be awfully good here too, like Brad Miller, JJ in the number 89. So many good-looking machines up and down this pit road. And that's why people love coming to Slinger Super Speedway. They know they're going to go up against some of the toughest competition locally in the Midwest racing scene. And if you're a national driver, you like to come in there. But there's a couple of guys that are actually a combination of a national driver as well as a local driver, like Luke Fenhouse in the number 4, still looking for his first Slinger Nationals victory. He's won here many, many times. In fact, he won the tune-up here just a couple of weeks ago for the super late models. And then you have Stephen Nasse. He's won just about everything. The defending Snowball Derby winner in the number 51. He'll be awfully tough here this week. But then next to him, Carson Brown. He is dominant on the ASA Stars National Tour right now. He won the ASA National Tour race here just over a month ago, so Carson Brown going to be very good. But I just spoke about Stephen Nasse, and today is not about racing. Today is about the bracket challenge and putting the best laps on the racetrack. Number one, I want to know from you, have you ever filled out a bracket for March Madness with college basketball?
No. The bracket deal, it's definitely different to us, and I'm not a big sports guy, so I don't know how it all works, and we all know qualifying really isn't my strong suit, so I don't think this is the best deal for me, but at the same time, we've had good speed in the car, so I'm looking forward to it.
What's so special about Slinger Super Speedway that makes you keep on wanting to come back?
Well, I mean, one of the main things is the fans. The fans, and the community here, just the racing community is special in this area. You know, between, you know, the Aples and you got the Prunties and, you know, you got Brad, you know, and then obviously the Bickles. There's so many good people, and like I said, great racing families around here. And I enjoy coming to see them. And then the fans, I mean, they're a whole nother animal. You know, we have a good time as well. Wisconsin people definitely know how to have fun, so we get along pretty well. And then, you know, this is probably one of the coolest racetracks that we're able to go to in our season. So, you know, anytime I get to make the trip up here, you know, I love doing it.
Let's talk about business. You've been practicing all day, tested here a little bit yesterday. How's that 51 car?
We're pretty good. We're pretty good. I kind of course, messed up my mock run, you know, and felt like I left about a 10th or so out there. So I think we ended up 13th or so, or 12th or 13th, something like that. I'm happy with that, and the car actually has good speed, so that's unusual. Let's just hope that we can maintain that through tonight and then tomorrow as well.
I got one more question for you. Of course, we come to Wisconsin, and who doesn't like Wisconsin in the summertime? I said it's beer, it's cheese curds, and it's Slinger Super Speedway. Which do you like best?
Man, I guess you got to go with the racetrack, obviously, first. This place is just awesome, but the spotted cow is pretty good, and then obviously the cheese curds, they go great with it. So, you know, they just do such an amazing job with this facility, and then again, there's so many good benefits of being up here in Wisconsin. That's what keeps bringing us back.
And we love Stephen Assey coming to all these big super late model races across the country. One of the best in the business is, by the way, Blake, have you had a cheese curd yet?
I have not, Bob, and that is something that I was sure to have done by the time we leave here in a couple of days. We've got plenty of time to have a good time up here in Wisconsin. So when we come back, more on-track action. We have more to talk about the bracket challenge that has taken place in lieu of a qualifying draw. More to come in the exciting format we have for the 47th Annual Slinger Nationals coming up next on Flow. Back with you here in Slinger, Wisconsin at Slinger Super Speedway, where again we are set for a pretty exciting qualifying bracket format that we get to enjoy the day before the 47th Annual Slinger Nationals as we go ahead and welcome you into the broadcast booth here this evening. I am Blake McCandless, and how about the man now sitting to my left? You've been busy the last couple of, hour and a half or so with your show over in Turn 4. I'm sure that was a fun time.
It's awesome to be on the program. Number one, this is the biggest race of the year. I'm from Southeast Wisconsin, so to have the chance to be here again with you guys, having the flow coverage of this event is special. There's that little ski hill across the street, but everybody wants to put their name on the T-shirt that says, I'm a Slinger Nationals champion. 47 years now they've been running this race, Blake, and I'm telling you, it won't get less intense. This bracket challenge will prove one thing, who's the fastest among the teams, but that only sets the qualifying order. The top 16 tomorrow afternoon have to figure out in hotter conditions than right now, believe it or not, to get in top 16 in time to lock in to tomorrow night's 200-lap race. So there's a lot of coverage to come. I'm excited we added that Turn 1 CRA Pro Series race as well. 100 laps to come yet tonight here on a sanctioned race that brings drivers from Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, 6 drivers from Wisconsin. It's going to be a lot of fun here at the world's fastest quarter mile. And welcome back to you, Blake, and the entire Flow team for coming back again this year.
Yeah, a lot of states represented here at Slinger, Wisconsin, and even Bob was doing a good job of pointing out the differences between some drivers that have been here for a while and those that have not. And of course, to our fans, if you're watching tonight's race live on the FloRacing 24/7 channel, of course, we want to welcome you into Slinger, Wisconsin this weekend. This is an exclusive look at the kind of action FloRacing streams all year long. Dirt, pavement, drag racing, and everything in between. You can scan the QR code on the bottom of your screen right now or visit floracing.com to access thousands of races live and on demand. So plenty of folks will hopefully be tuning in and like what they see tonight with both the qualifying for the bracket challenge here for the Slinger Nationals as well as the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series that will be competing for 100 laps, which will feature at least a couple of drivers that are competing in the Slinger Nationals field tomorrow night as well.
This quarter mile racetrack was last paved in 1996, I believe. It's got some character. It's also has some patching. This has actually been some grip spray applied to the upper groove here. This quarter mile racetrack right here in turns 1 and 2 gets really high banked, and it happens in a big quick transition. 30-some degrees of banking here. I think it's the steepest part of the track is coming up here in turn 2. This is an amazingly steep approach to get on and off the racetrack, and there's a guy standing right in the middle of all that over there.
Yeah, that's not a race car right there. Is that Bob Dillner? He looks about as tall as a racetrack down there.
Oh, it's nice down here, and I think Jim's right, guys. This track is part of the equation that's going to decide who wins the Slinger Nationals, who's going to be fast tonight in the bracket challenge. Walking down this is difficult. You actually have to put a little weight back, on your body to be able to walk down here without falling forward. 33 degrees of banking is what they say it is. It might have settled a little bit through the years here. This is a historic racetrack, but like Jim said, the character that this place has, you could see ruts and scrapes, and it's like you see all sorts of rocks in this track surface. This place is truly amazing. This area is beautiful, but this place will test even the toughest of drivers. And listen, we were talking about during our production meeting today, I'm 6'6". I'm a tall guy. But most tracks I go to, I put my arm out, and with the flat racetracks around a lot of parts of the country, I can reach out, and I'm actually taller than the racetrack. Well, I'm not even to the middle groove here, guys, and that shows you how tall this racetrack is here at Slinger. It takes a while and some long strides to move back up this racetrack, and you will see all the drivers use just to about right here, Jim Trado, I think, sometimes 2, and you don't want to, but if you have to, 3 wide around this high bank quarter mile.
And Bob, where you are is a critical part of the racetrack. Right below you is actually a dip in the track and turn 2 on the inside, so you need to stay above that. But if you get up by Bob, you see it's not so dark anymore. There's a dip coming off of turn number 2 that if your car gets a little bit sideways, it's going to get a lot more sideways heading towards the wall that comes ever so close down the backstretch.
And guys, there's a couple of dips here. You're right, Jim. You can see one of them right here. But you can see there's so much character right here where this dip continues, and you see some of the holes in the pavement. This is not a safety concern whatsoever. This is what makes this racetrack special. These guys have to tackle these grooves. You'll see them come off of turn number 2 right here, and there'll be all sorts of sideways on this racetrack. And I love the fact that we have the drone coverage here today as well, because that will show you how cool this place is, how these drivers tackle this race surface right here at Slinger.
Continuing on, Bob's in turn number 2. The most banked backstretch of any racetrack I've been to is here at Slinger. I mean, I've been to Anderson Speedway, I've been to Rockford Speedway. This backstretch has a whole lot of steam to it. You got to barrel into turn number 3, and you better have your entry right, because once you get down this backstretch, all those black marks are from cars that have hit the outside wall or swept down to the inside of the racetrack. into turn 3, right through to that Wabam logo on the backstretch. You got to be right pointed, and you better turn in at the right moment. There's a certain arc that I believe Ty Majeski has shown the way many times here as a 4-time Slinger Nationals champion to get into turn number 3, to get back on that gas before the center of turns 3 and 4.
And I think the one thing that's really interesting about this racetrack is you talk about the amount of banking that's on the back stretch, and yet if you're a fan that's sitting here in the grandstands, you could see that back stretch so well because it is elevated above where that front stretch sits. So in 3 and 4 here, it's kind of a much different exit. You talk about how Ty Majeski can arc into the corner. Well, you're back to the gas a lot earlier when you're going through 3 and 4 than when you're coming up through 1 and 2. So you almost go downhill in a way, if you want to think about that, to this front stretch, and you can carry plenty of speed. And that's where cars build up their runs here at Slingers off of turn 4 to the start-finish line.
Yeah, the front stretch has some banking too, but not as much as the back stretch. And you have to be in line to get into turn number 1. Your brakes have to be right. You're going to have to ride those not long, but you need to stab it and go again, because turn 1, it's like a roller coaster, man. Right when you launch, you go down the straightaway and bam, you're into the banking in turn 1 again.
And so you have all these things to think about that are going through your mind, and it all happens in about 11 seconds.
11.0s in practice, no question. 10.994 is the lap speed record by Steve Apel. 10.994 seconds at a super late around this quarter mile.
Yeah, and that is something that could very well be close to falling here today, depending on the conditions that we get here.
And this is fun. There's no question this is about a big event. This is a bigger event. Thanks to FloRacing, Hoosier Racing Tire, for making the bracket challenge possible. Thanks to the CRA Turn 1 CRA Pro Series for coming on to put a 100-lap round for the fans here tonight. This is only going to set up for tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're going to find those times matter. Tonight, it's all about beating the other guy on the racetrack to get faster, to advance into the bracket, to win $5,000 and a guaranteed spot in tomorrow night's Slinger Nationals.
And again, that is a first-time visit for the CRA Pro Series as they come here to Slinger Super Speedway. They've never been here before. A couple former champions that are in the field that will be competing with us from that series a little later on this evening. But the one thing that was really interesting about looking at that field, Jim, that you were kind of pointing out as we were discussing earlier today, we talk about Slinger, the amount of drivers that have experience at this racetrack. This CRA Pro Series race, at least with the driver list that we have, yes, there's probably 1 or 2 or so that are looking forward to tomorrow night and capturing Larry Degens Memorial Trophy. But I got to say, looking at this list, there are a lot of drivers that are seeing this racetrack for the first time, and you know it about as well as anybody. It's a unique experience when you've never been here before and trying to get comfortable to this place, because 33 degrees of banking is no joke.
Yeah, big time indeed. Things are getting closer to getting underway. Let's go down trackside for our pre-race ceremonies.
And welcome to the Slinger Super Speedway. This is our bracket challenge Monday night of our Slinger Nationals, the 47th Slinger Nationals. A lot on tap CRA Pro Series. Right now, though, it is time for our opening ceremonies. I would ask you to please rise as you are able. Gentlemen, remove your hats. If you're walking on one of the fan concourses, either the lower or upper fan concourse, or if you're walking in the pit area, we would ask you to just pause for a moment and give us your attention. We will begin with our invocation, and here to lead us in the invocation is track chaplain Jim Zerke.
Let us pray. Our kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for a beautiful but warm day, and we thank you, Lord, especially that you have sent a nice breeze for us. Father, I pray that tonight you will clear aside everything that would prevent our competitors from doing their very best. Lord, I pray that you will not only keep them safe, but you will keep all of our spectators safe tonight. And Lord, we ask our prayer in Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Jim. Please remain standing. Our national anthem tonight will be sung by Tricia Delzer.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallant was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Trisha Delzer with our national anthem. How about we go bracket
We are about ready to go racing here, Blake, and I'm telling you, when it comes to this kind of moments, I can't tell you how excited I am to be part of this, because I am that guy that was in the stands for many, many years, getting the opportunity to see great racers, NASCAR stars, race here at Slinger just once a year. Often they come in weeks ahead of time. They were here all Sunday hanging out, practicing, getting ready for one of the biggest short track races in the country.
Again, a lot of these fans that are in the stands right now, they were in the stands, if they could be, for practice this afternoon. More to come, and we'll explain how qualifying is going to work for this bracket showdown. It's going to be fun. We'll be back on the other side of this break on FloRacing.
Just take Bristol and you shrink it down in half. So it's Bristol half size. It is like, wow.
Welcome back to a racetrack that Mark Martin knew well. As he was going his way about things in 1977, he was racing on dirt tracks in Arkansas. He said, where can I go to race pavement racing and race more than once a week, more than once a month, where he was in Arkansas and traveling great distances to go to Texas and Oklahoma to race? He found Wisconsin. He came here in 1977. Dave Watson, among others, adopted him, if you will. And Mark Martin raced a lot here in Wisconsin. He said he could get a month's worth of races in a week here in Wisconsin because he could race 4 or 5 times a week. Here at Slinger, a special place for Mark because he won a 300-lap ASA race here back in 1983. So Mark Martin knows this track well. He's raced here since then as well, but it's great to see those comments from Mark Martin at one of the racetracks that really kind of helped prove that he could advance into the way he has in a NASCAR Hall of Fame career. We got a driver that's chasing his own kind of history, his 5th Slinger Nationals title. He's got an exclusive company already with a 4-time champion. He's with our Bob Dillner.
The 91 Menards machine getting ready to go out for bracket challenge here. I want to know, I've asked a lot of people this, do you fill out a bracket for March Madness with college basketball?
Honestly, no. It makes me so mad because you can't ever get it right, so I just don't do it. Yeah, this is exciting, something cool, something a little bit different. For us, it'll be a challenge as we progress through the rounds, kind of a guess on what to do with air pressure and stagger as the tires get laps on them and runs on them. They obviously lose grip, so finding that right balance with your race car is going to be the difference maker tonight.
You're the #1 seed. You got to go through all these 32 drivers here. You know, can you save it all depending on who you're going up against, or is it all out all the time?
I'm going to commit to 1 lap here. I ran my best lap on lap 1 here in my mock today, so I'm going to go 1 lap out here this first session and kind of see who we're up against and go from there.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Ty Majeski climbing into his race car, and I have heard a lot of that, guys. In terms of the fast guys, a lot of them planning to just take 1 lap because they think that's all it needs, and then they'll save the tires for later on in the bracket challenge.
Well, again, they may have earned that comfort going up and making a good mock qualifying lap earlier today in practice. And just a brief laydown of this bracket, you could see how everyone is seated. That is based off of their practice speeds and final practice from earlier today. Promoters here said, hey, everybody goes out and makes a mock qualifying run. Why don't we do something with it? So there you could see where everybody is seated. Now there are going to be individual matchups that will be used to determine the qualifying order for tomorrow. So in order, we'll start with Ty Majeski and Rich there, seeds 1 and 32. Both cars will go out on the racetrack, and it's pretty simple, Jim. Whoever runs fastest lap moves on. Whoever doesn't, they'll be slotted into that spot to start for qualifying order tomorrow. Not the starting lineup, but for where they go out in qualifying tomorrow.
Yeah, seated by practice speed. So if Richie Locke goes out and beats Ty Majeski in this head-to-head battle, both cars will be on the racetrack at the same time. If Richie Locke beats Ty Majeski, he moves on. Ty goes into a position where he's going to have to be the 32nd qualifier or one of the first few qualifiers because the result of this bracket will determine our qualifying order tomorrow afternoon at 4:30 or so. And in getting the interest here, it took a lot of effort, a lot of interest, a lot of discussion between FloRacing and the track owner Travis Dassau, a racer himself who finished 3rd here in the Nationals not too long ago. Bob, he's got a lot going on, but he also wanted to spice up Monday night. I think it's a success thus far.
That's right. He'll tell you it was a while ago that he finished on the podium in the Slinger Nationals, but long time after, now you're trying to devise something. Where did this idea get born?
We were a couple of us officials that were standing up on top of the bar container at the pick last year when we were picking out cans and stuff for qualifying order, and we're like, we got to come up with something better. And we're like, well, let's do something on track. You know, that's something nobody else has done, and we figured we'd give it a shot.
$5,000 on the line, guaranteed spot for tomorrow's Slinger Nationals. But did this idea come from March Madness or no?
It kind of did. You know, you're like, well, what gets people excited and wants, you know, almost made for TV type thing? It's March Madness. I mean, who else takes off of work all week just to watch, you know, basketball? So let's try to make something to do with racing.
We're going to see some madness on the racetrack here today, guys.
And again, it's not just qualifying order that these drivers are competing for. The winner, as they move on, the ultimate winner of this bracket will take home $5,000. And should anything happen tomorrow, they get a guaranteed spot in the 47th Annual Slinger Nationals if somehow they weren't able to qualify for the starting field.
And to make this a little more juicy, we're squeezing the juice because once we get down to those final 4 drivers, after we pare it all down, we have those gold bars. Those 4 drivers will get 4 fresh Hoosier tires to then try to set the fastest lap that's yet to come here. Ty Majeski is certainly one of the drivers in the conversation. If he can last that long through the brackets, he feels he's got a good piece. He was fast in practice, ran 11.0, and he also has raced here at Slinger Super Speedway in 2026 amongst his NASCAR duties. He won the ASA Jerry Priesco Memorial here. He also won a 125-lap weekly race in the Super Late Models here at Slinger this spring. He's in car number 91. He's seated first. Seated 32nd is Richie Locke out of New Berlin, Wisconsin. That Ricardo's Pizza number 55. Good to see Richie back at the racetrack. He's been 20-plus years trying to win the Slinger Nationals.
An 11.220 for Ty Majeski. Again, that's nearly about 2/10 slower than what he ran earlier today in qualifying. He stayed true to his word. He ran 1 qualifying lap. Locke's going to come across and try to run a second one. Unfortunately, it is not going to be enough to try and jump ahead of Ty Majeski. So it looks like that 55 car, when we roll out for qualifying for the Nationals tomorrow, will be in that position. In fact, runs 1 more for good measure. 11.56 compared to 11.220 for Ty Majeski.
So Majeski moves on, so we know he's going to be in the round of 16. The next pairing features the 16th quickest in practice, Jesse Bernhagen out of Markesan, Wisconsin, and R.J. Braun, a former track champion here in Super Late Models. Jesse actually just won a race on Saturday night in the late models at Dells Raceway Park, was racing for a NASCAR National Championship. Here is Jesse Bernhagen in the Jones Dairy Farm, number 28. By day, he's a middle school principal. He's also a late model track champion here at Slinger Super Speedway in 2023.
And what, wasn't it a couple of students, I believe, last year that were helping him out, working on his race car?
Yep. R.J. Braun has a lifelong history to this place. His dad, Rob, raced here for many years. His younger brother, Billy's in the field as well, the PD Paterka, number 92, in honor of Conrad Morgan, a 6-time Slinger Super Speedway track champion. Helped this young man adapt and adjust to super late model racing.
And again, the procedure, they'll basically send a car out there. They'll cross the start-finish line as they get up to speed, and then they'll send the next car out so that both cars can be on track at the same time, but not be too much of an influence into what the other driver is running. This one is quite close, and the seating would indicate that at 11:35 for Bernhagen, 11:37 for Braun, and it looks like Braun's not going to be able to go faster. So just over 2/100ths of a second decides that one.
Jesse told me in the pits right before even his last qualifying mock run, literally a mock run to seed himself, he said, "We are the dumbest people on earth. Only one guy's going to get a $5,000 check, but we're all going to hit it one more time. We got to get my car higher in the seating." And then he said, "I think I might have enough to beat RJ, but I got to get it right." And Jesse Bernhagen got it right, and he moves on to round 2. 8th seed, number 15, Gabe Summers, versus the number 9 of Derek Kraus. Kraus has raced here at Slinger Super Speedway. If you watch the Slinger Nationals the last several years, top 5 finishes. If you watch them race the ASA Midwest Tour here at Slinger Speedway, top 5 finishes. The Slinger Nationals has been one of his playgrounds. I'm telling you, Derek Kraus is one of the best, on average, racers in the field today. He finished 5th, 4th, and 4th, and 5th. Yes, in ASA sanctioned races, your last 4 races in this series. Last 2 Slinger Nationals, a 3rd and a 4th place finish. Here's Gabe Summers, who's racing as the driver in 2nd in points right now, Blake. 2nd in points in the weekly standings. He's made a commitment to come here to get dialed in to Slinger Speedway after finishing 8th the last 2 times at the Slinger National.
And again, he'll be attempting to make his 3rd start in this race in the Slinger Nationals. For Derek Kraus, it's his 10th consecutive start in this race. But as you mentioned, his best finish is 2nd. It's still a trophy that has eluded him up to this point. And by the way, pulling double duty tonight, he'll be in the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series race as well as that number 9 of Derek Kraus. And the times are close at 11:227. Right now it's Summers that's faster than Derek Kraus, who comes across, runs an 11:404. His fastest lap is 11:35. So right now Summers looking good and comfortable enough to pull off the racetrack right now. One more lap for Derek Kraus to the line. Not going to be able to go faster, so Kraus eliminated early. He'll have to go out and qualify early tomorrow afternoon.
8th seeded in practice speeds, Gabe Summers moves on. Our next pairing features a 2-time track champion, Alex Prunty, and the number 23 of Levon Vandergeest. Both Wisconsin racers, a lot of laps here. Alex has more as a late model champion twice over and as a super late model champion twice over in the Paul Riley Company, number 11. There's Levon and the family-owned number 23, Ewald Automotive Group on the back bumper. Central Sawdust on the hood of this number 23 machine for the full-timer of the ASA Midwest Tour.
Another driver that best finish is 2nd, and it's not making a 10th consecutive start in the Slinger Nationals. Looking for number 11th. It's that number 11 car in Alex Prunty, who throws up an 11:32 early on, 11:48 for Vandergeest. And it appears that you go out, Jim, and what Ty Majeski was saying earlier about that first lap, it seems that's the quickest one that these guys are running, but also they don't want to go too hard because they have to go out again if they advance.
Big time. And Prunty races here every chance for the super lates. He knows what these hot temperatures can do to these Hoosier tires. Levi Vandergeest shuts it down as well. Moving on with 11.339. Do I have this right, Blake? 11.339 to Levi Vandergeest, 11.509.
That's correct.
Advantage, Alex Prunty.
So Prunty advances, and they're rolling them quick here at Slinger. And you can see it right there in that shot. You fall down into this racetrack.
I call it dropping the bowl, and it really does feel like that. I've had a chance to take a few laps here in some different kind of cars. Nothing crazy, but man, when you get in that, when you hit that ramp at turn 4, you are feeling like you are dropping to a barrel in the very bottom very quickly.
It's Penn Sauter out of Necedah, Wisconsin. Car number 5 on the right-hand side of your screen. Going to try to carry his superior seating forward through this bracket. Car number 38D, that is Jordan DeVoy. 11 Wisconsin. Right now, Sauter is a bit quicker, 11.254. Again, about 2/10 slower than what we saw in their mock qualifying runs in practice earlier today.
We're also seeing one of the very few GMS chassis in the upper Midwest, the number 30 of Jordan DeVoy. Took delivery of that in the off-season. Got some great supporters. Penn Sauter has a brand new T-Sport Ford underneath him, all reworked. That's a Fury chassis that Duke Thorson of ThorSport Racing got involved in. Said, let's go super late racing with that boy. He's 16 years of age, is Penn Sauter.
And Sauter is going to take that one. Again, both drivers, they ended up improving. Sauter ran an 11:21.
He can qualify. He can put down a lap. And his laps here do matter. When he ran a Bandolero here, that kid was unstoppable in 2023. He won everything here at Slinger, no matter where he started.
Including the track championship was that when he won the Bandoleros in 2023. We heard from this driver earlier. Our Bob Dillner caught up with him at the top of our show. Stephen Nassy, who seemed like he was quite excited to be a part of this bracket challenge. The All-American Concrete Chevy.
We welcome him back. His first trip here to Slinger for the Nationals since 2023. The winner of the 2015 Slinger Nationals joins him on the racetrack. That's Dennis Prunty. And the coach works Express Zeller Transportation, number 42. Dennis is double dipping. He's got a Pro Late model he's been running really well with here. He'll race tonight in the 100-lapper.
11:23 for Stephen Nassy and 11:38 right now for Dennis Prunty.
And Nassy was kind of downplaying the fact he was 13th fastest of this 35-car field at practice times.
And he said he left, what, about a 10th of a second or so on the track, which, by the way, that would have put him in, I think that would have put him in 3rd or 4th when I checked earlier when he said he lost about a 10th or so. That's how close the margin is here.
And he beats a track champion, a Slinger Nationals champion in Prunty. Prunty loads up, if you will. No more qualifying, no more practice runs for him in the brackets challenge. Stephen Nassy, the faster of the two. So I think he's laying in the weeds on this qualifying thing. However, when he ran that P1 chassis at Five Flag Speedway in the Southern Super Series Blizzard race, that car was on fire.
Yeah.
He qualified well, led every lap in one of the Twin 100s. He swept the weekend back in June in the Five Flag Speedway run in that new car that he's running here tonight. Hendrick Cryer, number 66, Route 66 on the door. Wisconsin Dells, Wisconsin native, now living in Florida. Graduated high school early a couple years ago to pursue his career in racing. And Andrew Morrissey graduated high school a few years ago. He's 42 years of age, but he knows how to get it done here at Slinger. He had a win here at Slinger taken away in the Nationals due to a height violation in the roof area.
Oh, he got big time loose there,
yeah,
going into turn 3, so he's not going to improve again. He laid down at 11:21. Cryer at 11:34 is trying to match that and comes across the line this time and unable to do so. Going to take one more crack at it.
Hendrick Cryer in the Ashnala Supper Club, number 66, one of the most storied supper clubs in all of Wisconsin. Pretty cool. You know, they don't take reservations, but man, they've got a beautiful area to kind of just chill and relax and enjoy. Who won that one?
That was car number 39, Andrew Morrissey.
All right, Andrew, nice job. I'm sorry I didn't see it quick enough time. I keep thinking about food.
Well, and again, I think these teams, they're very in tune with what their drivers are doing. If they run a lap that they think is capable, they're not going to waste any laps running additionally on those tires.
That's a big component because they need to keep these tires on for the entire run through the process to the Final Four where they finally get the fresh ones. Ty Majeski talked about monitoring and managing the air pressure. Let's see how they do it here on the racetrack. The number 14, we got a couple of those. This is Cody King out of Clear Lake, Iowa. And Ryan Farrell from southeastern Wisconsin, the Adams Towing Oak Creek Automotive, number 80. Farrell's got a lot of laps here when it comes to super late model racing. He races in the ASA Midwest Tour. He races across the state at the Dells Alive for 5. And Cody King spent an entire year last year racing the ASA Midwest Tour full time. Back partial time this year and back here for the Nationals.
Farrell impressed with a 6th place run last year in the Nationals, and right now holds about, call it 500ths in the bank, but Cody King goes out and beats him. And, well, guess what? Farrell thought his lap was good enough. He pulled off the racetrack, and Cody King then goes out and beats him. So this lap is just for fun. You can even see the lap time. He pulls back knowing that he didn't want to waste his tires there. So Cody King comes across and will eliminate Ryan Farrell.
And he's one of the first timers here. If he makes the show, it's his first ever Slinger Nationals. Other drivers have had literally 40, 50 starts in this special race because at one point in time, Blake, this was a 4-race overall average run to win a championship overall.
Up until 2000.
Yep. And up 4 times, 2 times, 2 different racetracks. Now a single event in the second Tuesday of July every year. 2 fast cars on the racetrack, one from Florida, one from North Carolina. The number 17 is Nick Negri in the number 17, trying to make his first Slinger Nationals in that car. And to his combatants is one of the hottest short track racers in the country, Carson Brown.
And he is celebrating his 18th birthday today with a hot lap, 11:1:07.
Wow.
For Carson Brown, who just pulls one lap and he says, all right, that's good enough. I'll get ready for the next one. McNary going to try to best that, but he needs to find nearly 3 or 4 tenths of a second to try and do that.
And not many people could say this. Raise your hand if you beat Ty Majeski heads up in a 200-lap race. Carson Brown did that here on Father's Day in the ASA Stars National Tour race. He flat out drove what he called the race of his life to beat Ty Majeski at this racetrack to win the trophy.
And I was talking to Carson Brown earlier today. He's had a couple of starts here at Slinger. He said, initially, I didn't really love this racetrack. It wasn't my favorite. It took me a while to try and figure this place out, but once he said he figured out kind of how to use the resin and how to move around this racetrack, it's really come to him. Now he says it's one of his favorites.
Yeah, and he unfortunately had a broken rear end last year that took him out early in the ASA Stars National Tour race. So for his first trip for the Nationals, didn't have a lot of notes until he came back here in June and won the 200-lapper here.
Now this is a driver that has been behind the wheel of a couple of race cars, both for his race team. It's Tristan McKee, the number 5, the 15-year-old. Talk about youngsters with a lot of experience. Tristan McKee, not so much experience here, but sported this car earlier in practice. Also made a couple of laps in the 77 for Carson Hocevar earlier today, who was planning to be here today, but, you know, they ran a little late at Atlanta last night.
1:47 Central Time, I think, is when I finally saw Carson get interviewed on television. So, yeah, it was a long night at Atlanta, but he'll be in the mix. Tristan McKee is a magical kid. Spire Motorsports, the team that Carson drives for, has their eyes on this young driver. He's signed with them and racing with Richie Waters' efforts. Richie's a former Slinger Nationals winner as an owner. It's a long story there, but nonetheless, this orange number 5 has been around this racetrack many times. Tristan McKee's turn. He finished 6th here, I should say, on Father's Day, his only other trip here. And Eddie Van Meter, he's won figure 8 world championships. He's raced on the dirt. He's raced just about everything there is to know about high bank racetracks, but it's the first time Eddie's ever been to Slinger Super Speedway.
I was looking at that. I was surprised to see that this is his first crack at trying to start in the Slinger Nationals. This is a driver that is not the case. Going to be his 5th attempt to try to make this race, and in fact has a finish of 2nd to his name back in 2024, where he led 41 laps of that race, but looking to try and take home his first Larry Degens Memorial Trophy. The driver out of Bakersfield, California, Derek Thorne, car number 7 on the right-hand side of your screen.
His first 3 Slinger Nationals, Thorne's, were 3rd, 3rd, and 2nd finishes. I mean, never saw the place, finished 3rd. Came back again in Paulie Schaefer's number 7 and did exactly magical things. Finished 11th here a year ago. This is Richie Bickle. You want to talk about number of starts. He's probably the leader among all the drivers. 62 of the 87 total Slinger National races have featured the 45 in the field.
Wow.
Richie's got a T1 chassis that he went to Victory Lane with in a 30-lapper on a Larry Schuler tribute night about 2 weeks ago. He came here and shook this car down a couple of nights ago. And he rolls in the pits. Who won that one, Blake? I couldn't tell in time.
Derek Thorne, 11:19 for Derek Thorne to an 11:4 for Rich Bickle.
4-time Slinger Nationals champion. The only guy that's won the Snowball Derby 5 times. Yep, that same Rich Bickle.
Yep.
retired about 7 times now, but you know what? It's always fun to see him get excited and go racing. He likes this more than standing on the back of the grandstands drinking a Miller Lite. I've seen him do plenty of that.
Which I was about to say, he enjoys that quite a bit.
Couple of 7s. You want to pick them apart? I can. DeAngelo's name on the quarter panel gives away who's driving that white numbered 7 on the right-hand side of your FloRacing screen. That's John DeAngelis Jr. The other number 7 is Mitch Haver. Mitch is trying to make his way into his first Slinger Nationals, and Johnny D has got a lot of track time here. 12, the last 12 Slinger Nationals for DeAngelis.
Yeah, so Haver left-hand side of your screen, DeAngelis on the right. Right now, a pair of 7s give it to DeAngelis right now in terms of speed, 11:24 to an 11:34 for Haver, who's going to come across the line, take the checkered flag. Excuse me, that was the white flag for Haver. DeAngelis said, I'm taking the checkered flag. He pulls off with his 11:24. One more lap for Haver, who improved to a 32. Going to go with 38 his second time through.
These guys want to win everything. The difference in speed, the gap, 0.075 seconds between DeAngelis and Haver. I don't know what the measurement on the racetrack is, but it can't be much.
Not
the entire width of that start-finish line. Checkered flag, I tell you, that they are really, really close. And these times, tomorrow night, we're qualifying the top 16 lock-in to this bracket challenge. Just decide the qualifying order in a hot sunshine afternoon tomorrow. Hope you join us here at Slinger. If you can't be here in person, we know you'll see it here on Flow. 2021 Slinger Nationals champion Luke Fenhouse in the Dunred Exteriors number 4. Pairing off against Billy Braun, the number 17 car. Billy's been here in, I think, 4 different divisions, racing here weekly at Slinger Speedway. The younger brother of R.J. Braun. A lot going in the right direction for Billy now, racing his second year in Super Lates.
Fenhouse feels confident about his lap, 11:24 for the 2021 Slingers National Champion. 11:43 right now for Billy Braun in that 17 car, trying to wheel and get some more out of it. Really loose off the 4, really loose into 1 and 2. He's giving the fans a show. We talked about this bracket challenge being a show. There's one right there, and we have seen that so much today.
We just brought drifting to Slinger Super Speedway.
Yeah.
Thank you, Billy.
Tell you, with the banking, it's a little bit easier to keep your foot in it, but my goodness. And we have seen a lot of that today. Again, temperatures upwards of 90 degrees in the middle of the day.
Baking sunshine, yeah. And Blake, when it comes to this track, it can be temperature sensitive. But now we have that grip spray on the outside lane. And this will be a 2-group racetrack. It always has been. But that just increases the opportunity. I know for a fact Dennis Prunty is going to be starting on the outside at some point, given the choice during this race. He just likes how that outside feels and the momentum it can provide. Next up, the defending Slinger Weekly champion in the number 17 GT. Spinning a bit of fuel out the back of the overflow. That is Grant Griesbach out of Concord, Wisconsin. To his combatancy this time around, Brad Miller, who finally won the Slinger Nationals, I think in his 31st try.
Wow.
In car number 89. I might be making that up. The Barker reconditioning number 89. Brad Miller, who just won, he had a clean sweep Saturday night in a dirt late model at his home track in Plymouth, Wisconsin.
I'm not sure if that 31 marker, I know it's 23 in the event era, so it's probably not a bad guess.
Yeah, yeah. That means after 2000, there's just 1 race a year here. Brad's a 3-time Slinger Speedway weekly track champion in the Super Lates as well.
And Griesbach, an 11:3:43 and an 11:3:63 for Brad Miller. So that was close. 2/100ths of a second separates that 2, but give that one to the 17 car of Grant Griesbach.
Brad took so long to try to, I think it was 31 times he was making the race for the opportunity to win the Slinger Nationals title and finally won it.
This is round 15 of, or I guess the 15th pairing here in round 1 is probably the proper way to turn this.
One of the favorites, the Hogan Farms number 5 of Casey Johnson, the 4-time and defending Midwest Tour champion, racing against Nick Egan, who raced here in 4-cylinders, raced here in Midwest Truck Series, raced here in street stocks, raced here in late models. Now racing here for the first time to make the Slinger Nationals field in that Ewell Automotive Group, number 13. Nick's a full-timer this year in the ASA Midwest Tour. He and his dad do a lot of racing together. His dad's racing in the race tonight in his own number 89 in the Fire Suppression Solutions 100 Turn 1 CRA Performance, CRA Super Series race.
For Egan, he's been consistent. He ran a 3:13 and a 3:17. Unfortunately, it was Casey Johnson who ran a 2:47, so Johnson gets the best of that matchup.
When Casey's on, he's on.
Yeah.
He was as good as Ty Majeski in every way here at Slinger for several years. Had a setback, had an injury that took him out of the race car. Just didn't feel comfortable driving it, and now he's been helping other teams, and Casey's back behind the wheel and coming off his 4th Midwest Tour Championship back to full health.
He's been great. It's hard to imagine Casey Johnson. He hasn't led a lap in this race since 2014, but he's been right there.
Yeah, Austin Nason's been right there too in the blue and black car corner Ford. CarCorner.net, the sponsor, and the 6-time champ and the track record holder, Steve Apel, on the track together. Apel in the braking equipment, number 51, looking for his first official Slinger Nationals title. He was taken away in 2013 due to a carburetor infraction. And Nason has been very strong here at Slinger Super Speedway in a partial effort this year for the Roscoe, Illinois native.
And Apel's still on the racetrack, but I think his crew just told him you have the fastest time. So why don't you go ahead and just kind of limp back around here. Is 11.250 for Steve Apel, 11.301 for Austin Nason for the final matchup in round 1 of the bracket.
So we didn't go in numerical order 1 versus 32, 2 versus 31, 3 versus 30. The bracket.
They set it up like a real bracket.
Yeah, full on. So we're going to see a bunch of different times, and we just saw in the times, Blake, on the rundown. Again, these times are just to see who beats whom. We saw really close, really close. Look at these times. My goodness, they're so tight. Moving on to the cars, the drivers' names highlighted in gray. So on the left-hand side, we see who has moved on. On the left-hand side, we've got the winners of the heads-up round 1. Across the bracket on the right-hand side, Carson Brown was the second fastest overall in practice, and he has, I believe, the fastest time of anybody, 11.107 in that brief run to move on from round 1 to round 2. Steve Apel was 22nd fastest, and he also was able to beat Austin Nason. So an upset there, if you will, in the lower right-hand corner of it is.
It's what I could see is that Cody King, you could call that an upset there over Ryan Farrell, 21 versus 12, where we thought we would see it. But otherwise, I think a lot of those cars that had that same speed earlier today, kind of proving that that they're going to bring it here in this bracket. And again, like we're saying, $5,000 and a guaranteed spot in the starting field. We don't imagine that whoever wins this bracket, 'cause it's going to be a really good car, wouldn't qualify, but hey, it's racing. You never know what could happen.
And again, this bracket challenge is not to set the starting lineup. This is just to start the qualifying order and add some interest to the fans that have come from all over the country to camp here. Last night, they had a full racing program. Midwest Truck Series race. They had a figure 8 race with that backwards school bus we get to see on FloRacing and highlights all over the place. That was racing last night. One of the fastest drivers on the racetrack, once again, a driver out of North Carolina, standing by with Bob Dillner.
Carson Brown walked up to me and said, "Hey, I kind of like this, but do you know what you're doing yet?"
Not really. I'm just here driving as fast as I can go. But yeah, I feel pretty good about it. Track's really hot. It's first time two-barrel racing, first time race with no tape. There's a lot of new things for me here at Slinger Nationals, but just looking forward to the round of 16, and hopefully we can keep on going.
A big happy birthday to you. I saw the balloons. I saw the 18 by the hauler. Do you feel any different?
Yeah, thank you, but no, not at all. And I'm going to try and keep it that way as long as possible, but Anthony's giving me some gray hairs over here, stressing me out over this whole bracket racing.
Is he putting some pressure on you to make sure you get the job done here today?
A little bit, and we're trying to only do one lap too, right? And that's also playing a factor. 1 lap, 2 laps. If 2 laps will even make a difference, right? I think it's just so hot, no tape, that on your second lap, I don't even know if you physically can go faster, will go faster, unless I screw up or I do something down there in 3 and 4 is kind of where I've been a little iffy, but we'll see what I can do.
We'll see what Carson can do. And Jim, we were talking to Carson today, and he's like, man, when I first came here, I didn't know what I was doing. Obviously, he won the ASA National Stars Tour race here just about a month ago. So this kid is pretty darn good. His average finish in the National Tour, 1.4 so far this season.
Yeah, not bad. What a gift he got for his birthday. He spent yesterday, not in North Carolina, at his house. He was at North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Yeah.
First laps in a NASCAR O'Reilly Series car for RCR Richard Childress Racing. I think that's a very foretelling sign that we'll see this young driver for a long time on the national scene. Glad to see him here as we catch the star in motion, if you will. Carson Brown, a development driver for Richard Childress Racing, get some laps in just yesterday at North Wilkesboro in a NASCAR O'Reilly Series car. Turns 18 today, which opens up all sorts of opportunities when he comes to be old enough to race on the NASCAR national level.
And he'll be racing North Wilkesboro in a couple days in a late model stock Friday night.
FloRacing.
Yep.
You gonna be there?
I'm gonna be there.
Awesome.
All right, we'll be back with the second round. After this, you're watching the 47th Annual Slinger Nationals live on FloRacing. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Slinger Super Speedway. We are live on FloRacing with the next round of qualifying. I'll call it qualifying. It's not really. Who's going to be faster than whom? Jesse Bernhagen against Ty Majeski, the fastest car in practice. Back at it, round 2 in the iRacing. Menard's number 91 against Jesse Bernhagen's number 28 Jones Dairy Farm car.
And he felt good about that lap, and you could see it on the stopwatch there for Ty Majeski. 11:14.9. 11:14.9 for Ty Majeski. Bernhagen trying to crack into the 11.3s once again. He was able to match that his last time out.
Bernhagen had a bucket list to race in the Winchester 400. And he certainly has a bucket list to win here at Slinger Super Speedway, and it's super late. Has yet to happen, but he is a driver that will be in contention. He knows how to keep the fenders on it. He doesn't take too many chances, and he has a fast car. He'll know where the holes are here with all the success he's had here at a late model. His next opportunity on track will be tomorrow morning in practice as he's done and Majeski moves on.
And Carson Brown made an interesting point, I think, in discussing with Bob Dillner there, whether you continue to run and whether that's worth it. Bernhagen went out, and his fastest lap was his last one on track. So he did continue to improve each and every lap. That's not something that we have consistently seen throughout all of these cars. It's Gabe Summers and Alex Prunty, left-hand side of your screen for the 11 of Prunty, right-hand side for Gabe Summers.
These guys are racing for the track championship in points here. They run 8 races a year in super lates. Alex Prunty is the point leader. Gabe Summers is just behind him, I think, by 4 points in second in the standings. They run 80 lappers, 125 lappers as a weekly super late model race, and they're putting some big money towards it. $5 grand or more to win these races. So it's top-notch competition. These drivers have seen each other plenty of times head-to-head. Let's see how they match up head-to-head here in this Slinger Nationals Bracket Challenge.
Summers was 2 thousandths behind Prunty. Then he went out and ran better than him. 11.226 for Gabe Summers, who pulls off track. Prunty trying to chase him down from an 11.358. He'll improve by 1,000th of a second, but not enough to do it for Alex Prunty.
Gabe Summers moves on. A driver that did not like this place. Didn't qualify for a couple of Slinger Nationals in a row. Came here and tried to get the car right in weekly shows to practice for the Slinger Nationals. That didn't go well. And then Gabe came here in 2024 and won a weekly feature. And ever since then, I think he's taken a liking to this place after making the top 10 runs in the last 2 Slinger Nationals.
Seems to be the going here that either you hate this place until you figure it out, and then it's one of your favorites.
And Penn Sauter has no choice. He's fast at everything. He races here at Slinger, including a super late model. His first super late model start just 2 years ago. This is a car prepared by his father Johnny in their home shops in DeForest, Wisconsin. Stephen Hassey's car comes out of his home shops in Pinellas Park, Florida. The Mitch Smith Plumbing number 51.
I was wondering if Johnny was going to run this one. He was a participant with his son last year in the Slinger Nationals.
Yep, finished 9th last year. Johnny did his best run yet.
And Penn brought home 7th, so got a little bit of bragging rights there over father, as Penn Sauter 11.239 is his time to 277 for Stephen Nassey, who's taken one more crack at him, but I don't think he's going to get that with how that car was handling.
He went into turn 3 with a lot of aggression, and that track said, I'm not that banked.
Yeah.
You can't hold you in there, pal. You better watch out. Advantage, Penn Sauter, the 16-year-old son of Johnny Sauter. grandson of Jim Sauter, and there's a whole lot of Sauters in between, still racing, generations of racing here in Wisconsin. Bob?
Guys, I was just going to say, Stephen Massey didn't expect to get past that round whatsoever. Car just a little bit too tight for his liking. Was hoping to go one more round, but knew it was probably not going to be.
It's interesting you say tight, and a lot of drivers will struggle with that. We saw him sliding around a little bit. That's him putting a lot of wheel into it, tight on entry, gets back to the gas. That car just wants to snap around, and that's what we saw right there.
2011 ASA Midwest Tour champion Andrew Morrissey in car number 39, driving for David McCardle. Put some laps together here, faster than Cody King thus far in the 14. King, the 17-year-old out of Clear Lake, Iowa. Morrissey, a little under 2/10 faster here in the head-to-head competition in the Slinger Nationals Bracket Challenge, brought to you by FloRacing and Hoosier Racing Tire.
11.22 or 11.211, excuse me, for Andrew Morrissey, Cody King, 11.392. Going to come up a little bit short there as Morrissey will pull off just about a lap early again, trying to save those tires. And, you know, Majeski kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier when he was talking with the repave about just how difficult it would be to go out and, you know, you always set up for qualifying to run maybe 1 or 2 laps, but continue to have to go back out, have the air pressures build up and come back down and everything. This is where we're going to see that second and third round where it's going to be a little bit difficult for these drivers.
Here's the birthday boy, the number 81, excuse me. That is Carson Brown out of New London, North Carolina.
18 years old, though, so not too far off there.
He won't turn 16 till August 3rd. His combatant in the Blaster, gunk number 5, is Tristan McKee, the 15-year-old phenom. And he's every bit of that. Raced at Lime Rock Park this past Friday in the ARCA Menard Series race. Came right here to Slinger Speedway for his second trip here to this Wisconsin Oval. First time for the Nationals. Brown laid down 11.091. My goodness, that's faster than his first round lap. That was the fastest of anybody.
Oh, McKee! A little too loose there, and he's going to give the fans a nice little show here on the front straightaway as he was trying to get everything out of that race car.
He doesn't like to lose anything.
No.
Thumb wrestling, coin flipping, head-to-head bracket challenge. That kid was going for it.
Drivers aren't very good at that.
Let's go back down to Bob.
Well, guys, here's what these drivers are really dealing with right now, and they've been talking about this the entire day. The cars are tight. They don't want to turn in the center of the corner, and Tristan McKee has been fighting that in that 5 car the entire day, but when you have so much wheel in it to get it to turn, when you get on that throttle off the corner, it wants to spin out, and that's kind of what Tristan McKee went through.
Good point, Bob. We're back to a pair of 7s again.
Yeah.
Different ones this time, Blake.
Second straight time it happened to you. Know, when Bob Dillner agrees with you, maybe you got something right as we were talking about those tight versus loose conditions. You can see DeAngelis right there, left-hand side of your screen off 2, kind of struggling with that. A little bit of a slide off turn 2 as he climbed up that banking, tried to set that car up.
The LA Spa, number 7 of DeAngelis. The Dynamic Recycling, number 7 of Derek Thorne, the car owned by Paulie Schaefer. Sponsorship by Track TV all season long, as he's a Midwest Tour star, is Paulie Schaefer. Thorne's racing full-time for Highlands Motorsports in the ASA Stars National Tour out of North Carolina.
So DeAngelis had the fastest time, then Derek Thorne went out and ran an 11.199. DeAngelis at 11.266, going to be dropped into the qualifying order and eliminated in the bracket challenge here today.
Dropping in the bowl, a couple of other combatants. Luke Fenhouse, if you remember that name, in 2021 raced with the SRX here at Slinger. He got the chance to race in that series as the local star because he won the Slinger Nationals the Tuesday prior. He's the youngest ever champion at age 17 to win the Nationals. He got in the SRX race in his second between Marco Andretti and Tony Stewart. He had a chance to race that following year, moved to North Carolina, and won the Cars Tour Pro Late Model Stock Championship. Second the next year, the ARCA Menard Series East Championship. Back to a lot more racing in his home state in the Super. This is Grant Griesbach, the 2025 Slinger Super Speedway track champion. He also won the Wisconsin International Raceway Track Championship and the Red, White, Blue State Championship. Big season last year for Grant in Supers.
And Griesbach needs to find about a 10th and a half or so. Fenhouse an 11.220. See a little bit of a slide there for Griesbach, trying to get everything. He does improve on that lap, but it's not going to be enough to best Luke Fenhouse. in what was the, 7th matchup of round number 2. So we got one more left here in round 2 to sort out the 16 drivers in round 2.
He's Blake McCandless. I'm Jim Trado. Bob Dillon is with us, and a great FloRacing crew that's been here for now the second time. A lot of the returning members of the FloRacing staff covering great racing all across the country. Some of our team members are headed up to Eldora from here. Others are continuing to follow the Cars Tour. It's great to see them here working together to bring this great coverage on FloRacing.
Casey Johnson, right-hand side of your screen, immediately goes up to the top in this matchup, an 11-3-1-2 for him. Steve Apel, though, tough competition in car number 51. In fact, he's going to wrestle it back 11-2-56 there for Steve Apel.
A lot of 11.2s, and I say that for a purpose because tomorrow in qualifying, the top 16 get locked in time, and there's probably going to be 9 drivers with an 11.25 something. Well, between 11.1 and 11.3, we're going to have, 9 guys. Hold me to it. We're going to have 9 different guys that close in qualifying. So these are more importantly, I want to get to my car to run. And if I don't think I'm going to make a move, I'm going to try an adjustment on my car to see if it'll help me in qualifying tomorrow.
Well, and I think it's a great experience for these drivers because, yes, you can go out and make a mock run in practice, but nothing simulates having a little bit of pressure, having a little bit of something to fight for, to be able to go out for qualifying and be able to fight for it, as that will complete round number 2. First, there were 32. Now there are 8. And as it's seated, it looks like the top 5 were safe.
And 5 of those cars were 11.2 something in their times.
Yep.
And I'm telling you, that is like a bubble number. Last year, we mentioned the top 16 in time. We had a tie for 16th in time last year. It's going to be critical. This is important. These are important notes to take today. As much fun as it is for us to watch here on our bracket challenge, the champ receives $5,000 tonight and a guaranteed starting position in tomorrow night's 47th Cobblestone Hotel Slinger Nationals, presented by Lynch GMC Buick of West Bend.
And again, that's an upset there for Steve Apel over the 6th seed in Casey Johnson. And again, important because conventional wisdom would tell you you want to go out later. It's going to cool down as we continue to go on through the evening for qualifying tomorrow. Typically think track gains grip, gains a little bit of speed. It's always the going consensus that you want to try to go out later. So Johnson will be slotted a little bit earlier with that, the result of that round. So we head down to Bob for more.
Well, we're down here, and you just called it an upset. Steve Apel over Casey Johnson. I'm not so sure about that because this guy's 6-time track champ. How was that race car, and did it surprise you?
No, not really. I mean, I feel like we've had decent pace all day on old tires, so wanted to save our tires for tonight and see what we had, and wasn't really sure how this bracket thing would work, so I guess I probably should have put tires on a seat up to try to have less laps on our tires, but I feel like the car repeats, and we can be proud of this 51 and put it up front.
Of all the years you've been here, the top 5s in the Slinger Nationals, I know you want that victory, but what do you think about the bracket challenge so far?
It makes it exciting. It's all about putting a show on for the fans and people on TV. So it's something new. I give Travis credit for sticking his neck out and trying something new. So it's exciting. I mean, we all would put tires on anyways. So have us race for something, $5,000. I got 1 in 8 chance to win $5,000 now. So yeah, excited about that. And we'll make a couple small adjustments and see if we can knock one more down.
Steve Apel, one of the best in the business here at Slinger, concentrating on his kids racing a lot lately, Jim.
Karting around the area, including Indiana. It's a busy time for his sons, Cameron and Harrison. Apel is one of 8 drivers that are moving on. We're going to show you, we're going to tell you who they are. We're going to show you head-to-head competition continues here in the bracket challenge. Ty Majeski, Gabe Summers, Penn Sauter, Andrew Morrissey, Carson Brown, Derek Thorne, Luke Van House, and Steve Apel are the 8 drivers to advance, racing for the $5,000 to win the bracket challenge here at Slinger Super Speedway. We're going to step away from our coverage of the world's fastest quarter mile. We'll be right back on FloRacing for more.
47 years of the Slinger Nationals in Wisconsin, and we've never seen what we're seeing here today. It's usually practice day for super late models around this high-banked quarter-mile oval, but today a bracket challenge to see who's the best in the business to set the qualifying order for tomorrow. A guaranteed spot and $5,000 on the line to the winner. Penn Sauter, after your couple runs here, what are you thinking as a 16-year-old?
It's definitely something that I've never done before. Usually you go out and qualify and call it quits. But yeah, I feel like we've got a really fast T-Sport Mustang this week. Yeah, me and my dad have worked really hard. We came here and tested a couple of times. Just every night in the shop counts. So yeah, I think we'll be good here going up against Morrissey. He's obviously pretty good. So we'll have to see. I'll let you know after 3 laps if it's good.
Hey, they say the kids have got the 2-lap speed, right? All you really need is 1 here. So is this kind of an advantage for some of the younger drivers here compared to the veterans, or what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I've had really good successful qualifying, so that statement may be true. But yeah, all it takes is 1, like you said. You just got to hit your marks, and I feel like I can definitely be in the top 4. After that, I don't know. Obviously, the 81 just burning off O's like it's nothing is pretty crazy. But yeah, I have faith in my dad and the guys that will race good tomorrow.
All right, Penn Sauter looking to advance again. He mentions his dad. His dad is Johnny Sauter, former NASCAR Camping World Truck Series champion, and he's the grandson of the great Jim Sauter. The Sauters, man, they just have so much legacy around this area.
Penn Sauter also representing the Kowicki Driver Development Program this year, the only driver from Wisconsin. And it ties in here because Alan Kowicki raced here. He won the 2nd annual Slinger National, did Kowicki, before moving on to NASCAR. So this is one of the things he accomplished. So for Penn to carry that forward for the first Wisconsin NASCAR champion, it's a pretty cool deal to have him here racing with his family. His uncle Jim Sauter Jr. will be here likely. He'll have a bunch of his buddies. His cousin Reed is now racing the Midwest Truck Series. They grew up together. A lot of cool storylines for this young 16-year-old.
And really
climbing
cool,
in as number 5.
And cool to you mentioned the Kowicki Driver Development Program. Got to speak with some of their folks at South Boston Speedway, and Carson Hayslip, Penn Sauter, Chase Johnson, Michael Bumgarner, the representatives. But got to talk a lot about what they kind of get to go through and the amenities that they have and being able to try to train these drivers, not only as a driver, but on the racetrack, but off the racetrack. It was really cool to hear about.
Yeah, I mean, and you get a lot of off-track guidance and discussion as well, and some connections with actual Alan Kowicki's 1992 NASCAR Cup Series Championship team members, including crew chief Paul Andrews. More with Bob Dillner. Why not, Bob? We're waiting for the next round. What you got?
Yeah, Derek Thorne buckling in behind the wheel of his race car. Derek, real quickly, get a word from you. Are you happy with things so far? Or do you think you can advance another round?
I don't know. Carson's been really fast. I think our car's been great on balance. I love it. Proud of these guys. We've been working hard at it, but they got about a 10th on us. So we made a couple big swings at it, knowing we got to find about a half a 10th or a 10th, and heck, all we can do is send it.
That's right, send it. That's what's all about here during the bracket challenge at Slinger.
That's what I love the most about this bracket challenge is knowing that, hey, we're going to have to go out. We need to find another half a 10th, and we're just going to take a swing at it. We've seen a lot of drivers, they're taking their swings, and some of them it doesn't work out, but I love that that's what it's bringing out of these drivers and teams.
And we're adding more laps to these tires.
Yes.
So the chasing the O as Carson Brown ran at 11.091 in round 2 as the fastest lap. Fastest lap in round 1 was Carson Brown 11.107. My guess is even a 10 or a 15, as in the right side of the decimal. That might be good enough to get into the final 4. Might be asking a lot. Even if it's a 2 flat, a 20 might get you in because of that tire wear, the limited runs. Now we got a heat cycle again on these, and track's still not cooling down. It's still pretty warm outside, so a little bit of a breeze, but we're in a bowl. We're dug down into this area here, 35 miles north and west of Milwaukee. And here comes one of their favorites, the defending Slinger Nationals champion, Ty Majeski, to go battle in another round here in the Slinger Nationals Bracket Challenge.
And again, he would join Lowell Bennett with 5 if he were able to get another one and go back-to-back.
Gabe Summers has won a lot of big races. He's won the ASA Midwest Tour Championship 2 times over. He's now the driver to square off against Ty Majeski. Majeski was the fastest car in practice and was the number 1 seed.
A 1:36 for Ty Majeski. Summers matched him on his first lap, and now it's a 2:68 for Gabe Summers. So he's got about a 10th and a half or so, exactly what Derek Thorne was looking for.
Majeski, 11.136, makes my 20 a joke because we're going to have about 5 guys, I think, underneath the 11.20s. 11.135, the best lap for Majeski. He moves on.
11.268. Although, at this point, if you're Gabe Summers, you get dropped this late, still in a pretty decent qualifying spot for tomorrow. You're just not in a 1 in 7 chance to try and win $5,000 and a guaranteed spot in the field.
And again, this is just seeding the qualifying order for tomorrow.
Yes.
So Gabe Summers being the 8th, actually the first car eliminated in this round, I believe he may be the 8th car of the Bracket Challenge cars to qualify. 8th from the end.
Yeah, 8th from the end.
Yeah, yeah. Here's Penn Sauter, the Oak Creek Automotive T-Sport Ford. Bob Dillner told us off air that he's not feeling the greatest, this Penn, so he'll need some hydration and some good sleep tonight. Home is about an hour and 45 minutes from here towards central Wisconsin. Home for Andrew Morrissey. Same hometown, DeForest, Wisconsin. That's where Johnny moved his family back in 2017, 18, somewhere in there. His wife Courtney and their 3 daughters, and Penn being the oldest of the siblings. Andrew Morrissey lives in DeForest, builds his own race cars. Actually won the race last night as a chassis builder for James Swan in the Midwest Truck Series run. This car he built himself as well, out of bare sheet metal. Owner is David McCardle.
258 for Sauter, and it looks like Morrissey's going to throw in the towel. 270, so 12 1,000ths of a second is the difference. And ain't it something if you're Penn Sauter and really any race car driver, sometimes, you know, it happens. You come to the racetrack, you're not feeling the best, maybe you got a headache or whatever you're battling. For some reason, I found that race car drivers, you would think sitting in a hot race car and coming to a physically challenging place like Slinger would not be the place to be.
Yeah.
Seems like they don't feel it when they're in the car. Not that much, not as much.
Hey, Carson Brown, just another day, another race car. Lime Rock on Friday. An O'Reilly Series car at North Wilkesboro yesterday, and here he is trying to race his way into his first Slinger Nationals as the driver to watch. Derek Thorne told us, I don't know if I can get down to that time, about a 10th away. Thorne's in the 7, Brown's in 81, head-to-head here in the Bracket Challenge.
I'm going to keep my eyes glued to the left-hand side of the screen. Just Derek Thorne said we took a huge swing at it, so I want to see what that driver's capable of if they really made a big adjustment. Carson Brown, 11-11. Derek Thorne still lacking that 10th and a half at 11.265. In fact, hit it right on the head. Needs a 10th and a half and is not going to be able to find it on that lap.
Carson Brown somehow continues to find it. That kid is just flat good. Repeatability and speed for Anthony Campy Racing has paid off for him this year, once again, in his second full year of driving with that team. Let's check in again with Bob.
And Jim, what's interesting about Carson Brown's line, I'm standing in turn number 3. He's about a half a car length above where everybody else is entering the corner. So just something to watch here both today and tomorrow.
Yeah, big time. It almost dishes out at the very bottom of 3 and 4. So his wide arc, he can actually use that bottom. You might even see his left front off of turn 4 on the yellow line longer than some others as well, the way he's taken to the racetrack.
And I got to say, this is something I kind of picked up watching him a little bit earlier in practice. It wasn't just in 3 and 4. It was off at 2. He was, you know, you could see Luke Fenhouse and 51 of Steve Apel right here, kind of how they're able to exit turn 2. Brown was getting on the gas very early. He was up by the wall very quickly off at 2. You could see Fenhouse there kind of works his way up before cutting back down. Brown was almost meeting that Cobblestone Hotels decal that's on the wall a couple of times.
Fenhouse won the 100-lap race, the tune-up, if you will, last weekend here at Slinger in a dominating fashion in Super Lates, won by a straightaway. Steve Apel was in the field as well, but Steve has not raced every Super Late race this year. He sits 11th in points, chasing his first Slinger Nationals title in the 51. Head-to-head advantage moving on. Fenhouse at 11.290. Just have to be faster, not the fastest, faster than the 2. Fenhouse moves on.
11,000th of a second is all that separated them. Steve Apel at 11.301, 11.290 for Luke Fenhouse. So as we get down to the last few matchups, it is close. And in fact, that was the final matchup of round number 3. So now we are down to just 4.
Dun, dun, dun.
And not only that, these drivers, so we talked about having to run continuously on the same set of tires. They have a sponsored set of tires that they don't have to pay for.
Right.
Hoosier's giving it to them, and they will be able to go out, put some new tires on, and, well, here we go, Final 4.
So the teams have, I was told by officials, the teams have 3 sets of tires they've impounded for tomorrow. 2 stickers, 1 practice set for tomorrow. They are allowed to take one of those sets, the sticker tire sets, and bring them down if they're a Final 4 driver and team. So Sauter, Majeski, Brown, and Fenhouse aren't just picking from a pile of tires. They've already selected their 2 sets of stickers. One of those sets they can bring down now to qualify with. I'd say qualify because it's the best of the top 4 in time, qualifying for these the $5 grand. and they'll get a replacement set provided to them. They can also measure and set aside. So these are Hoosier Racing tires provided by Hoosier Racing Tire. Pretty cool deal. Hey, Bob, what's going on?
Down here, going to chat with Luke Fenhouse, and you advance again to the Final Four, Fast Four, whatever they want to call it. What do you think as far as where you are and where you stack up against the other three?
I think if we can put 4 fresh ones on and kind of just rebalance our stuff. I was a little too tight the last 2 runs, so kind of fix that, you know, and hopefully have a good shot at it.
New tire is going to make you feel like a hero, though, no?
Yeah, it will a little bit. I just think I need a little bit more to compete with them guys.
It's telling me, scratching his head right now, trying to figure out what he needs to do. We're going to walk on down the line here and talk to Carson Brown. You made the Final Four. Now, what are you thinking about this next and final round?
I guess we're going to find out here shortly. I think we'll be all right changing tires. We're going to be able to tape this time, and this is going to be more like what I'm used to. So I'm just happy to make it to this point. Big thank you to all the guys at ACR, RCR, Chevy, Wise, everybody that helps make this happen, and we'll just try and execute here.
Look out. What he's used to could spell trouble for the rest of the competition. We continue to walk down the line here. Penn Sauter's got some water on him right now. You made it to the Fast Four. Now do you have something against the rest of these guys, some of the biggest names in super late model racing?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out soon. I told you earlier I've been sick for the last couple of days, so this heat ain't treating me well. But yeah, we'll get through it. And yeah, I don't know, the 81 burned off a couple quick laps, and then obviously seeing the 91 really burn one off. So I don't know. If we tape up here, I don't know what we'll be able to do. But hopefully we lay down a good one. And you know, to make it here is already a success. For the last 4 cars to qualify tomorrow, I think that's a big gain.
Penn Sauter, one tough customer here, but he's going to have to go up against some of the best in the business, and one of the best is Ty Majeski, talking to his legendary crew chief, Toby Noodleman. Ty, what do you think going into this one? You're able to conserve the car for the most part in those opening rounds.
Yeah, I think, you know, trying to keep heat out of everything. We can't put fans on it. Now we're going to be able to tape off, so trying to get the water temp down, and, you know, obviously not, you know, we're going to tape off tight, so hopefully don't overheat in these 3 or 4 laps. So yeah, I get to kind of reset and do a true mock. We weren't able to tape off earlier. We'll be able to full tape here, so we'll get a true judge on what we'll have tomorrow. So yeah, what a cool event. Create some excitement. All of us, everybody here would have mocked anyway. So it's cool. Travis and Kelsey put up $5 grand for this deal, and yeah, hopefully we can bring it home.
Now you know exactly what's in the minds of all 4 drivers going into the Fast Four.
And that is a team that's been magic in the upper Midwest. Majeski's won 41 times in the Midwest Tour, 5-time champion there. He's won more than his fair share when it comes to racing against the Midwest. He's run here and won 4 Slinger Nationals. He probably would have won 7. I was here to see all of them. Toby Noodleman is the crew chief and the chassis builder. That's been a left-hander chassis initially that's been kind of modified. Now it's a Toby car. That's Toby with the suspenders talking to his young driver. They talk every day, on the phone, in person, whatever it may be. Ty also, I can see there, has his buddy Riley Stenjum, who's a race driver and engineer by degree. They get along great. They've been longtime buds. Riley helps out Ty when he can, and Ty helps out. There's a couple of NASCAR truck champions talking to each other. It's Ty Majeski talking to Johnny Sauter, the 2016 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champ. Gotta love that duct tape on the finger. No time for Band-Aid. We got work to do. Johnny's finger's all taped up. Holding it together with some duct tape.
Especially for Majeski, this has been one of his more successful. Again, he's had so many successful years, but in terms of super late models, I don't know if he's performed any better than what he's done over the course of the last year or so since winning the Slinger Nationals 1 year ago. And again, looking for number 5 if he can get that done tomorrow night. Well, Final Four is coming up next in our bracket challenge, trying to separate who will win $5,000 tonight. We'll find out for the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series later on. You're watching the Slinger Nationals on Flow.
Well, it's quite simply the best place on earth. I mean, this is America, and God bless it.
This is my home track. This is my Sunday home, but I've been at this track nonstop since 1969.
Oh, it's historical. We've been here our whole lives, and every year we come back because it's so much fun.
Just the energy of the event. I mean, you get guys from NASCAR backgrounds, from Ty Majeski, Derek Kraus, stuff like that. It just adds to the aura that is Wisconsin racing.
And start celebrating the Slinger Nationals, the best short track race in all of the nation.
Some of the flavors, some of the characters that continue to fill the stands here at Slinger Super Speedway. Our friend Faye Hendricks, my friend Faye Hendricks, they're talking about coming since 1969. Her husband Jim raced here. He won a mini stock championship. He's a sportsman. He's a Hall of Famer in the area. Great to see Faye continue her long passion for coming here and being a journalist, and now as a super fan. She's seen a lot of things here. The track was dirt. It was paved in 1973. The last dirt track champion was Joe Shear. The first year it was paved, the first pavement track champion was Joe Shear. This track's pretty cool. It's got a lot of history. I just love talking about it.
And well, that was 1974 when it was first turned into a pavement oval. And of course, as you mentioned, the pavement that was put down in the 1990s, what we see today that still has a ton of character is what Bob Dillner was walking around showing us, some of the divots and bumps and everything that makes this racetrack so unique. It's not just the track, though. Like we saw in that piece, it's a lot of the people that make racing up here in the Midwest so special.
So we've whittled it down from 32 of the fastest cars in practice. We had them head-to-head through rounds. We're down to the final 4. Each car will go on the track by itself to set a lap. The fastest of the 4 is going to be crowned our Bracket Challenge champion. It's been an exciting afternoon. Here's a look at the top 4 runs moments ago here in the final round to make it to the championship round. Ty Majeski, 11.135, was the first to set the pace.
Talk about that unique entry that he has into turn 3. He really gets to turn down off the wall into turn 3. And how about Sauter battling a little bit of illness? Hasn't been feeling the best. Has to go out and at least do it one more time here today. But knows he has a car capable of winning $5 grand. And, of course, want that last qualifying spot tomorrow in the Q order.
Carson Brown, the fastest car in round 1, fastest car in round 2. 11.110 to make it into the final 4 in this number 81. Luke Fenhouse, the last to go, went at 11.290. The slowest of the 4, didn't matter. You just had to go ahead and beat the next guy. So now he's got a few more changes to make and put 4 fresh Hoosier tires on before he gets a chance to run for the $5 grand. Let's go back down to Bob Dillner.
Guys, if you take a look at these top 4 drivers, it's really interesting because you look at Ty Majeski, and for so long, Jim Trado, you and me have been around the super late model scene for a really long time, and Ty Majeski was the young kid coming through the ranks, and obviously he's one of the most decorated super late model drivers of all time now. So he has that veteran status. Then you have Luke Fenhouse. Fenhouse, a few years ago, was the new kid on the block, was the young kid kind of coming up, but now he's kind of settled in. He knows his groove. He's established himself as one of the best in super late model racing. And then you have 2 kids, Carson Brown, so good. Teamed up with RCR, we expect big things out of him in the big leagues of NASCAR. And then 16-year-old Penn Sauter. And I think he's the interesting one going into this Final 4 matchup because Penn Sauter, just 16 years old, the son of Johnny Sauter. And if you know anything about Johnny Sauter, Johnny has nerves of steel. He doesn't let things bother him. I remember him back in 2001, his dad, that is, Johnny Sauter, going after an ASA national championship in the Alec Pinsino number 9 machine. He come off of his brother winning the championship, and honestly, he wasn't worried. He didn't feel threatened. He wasn't scared of anybody. Jim, you've been around these Sauters for a long time. I get that same vibe from Penn Sauter. I don't think the apple fell far from the tree.
Not at all. Johnny Sauter, among his brothers racing, had to wait their turn. Penn Sauter got a chance to race in a used Bandolero with his dad, Johnny, at the wrenches, and they were hard at it. Johnny gave up a few NASCAR opportunities to drive part-time in the Truck Series, maybe get an O'Reilly Series start to get after it. And I think Johnny might be the happiest guy on the property right now. You know why, Blake? He got 4 free tires.
Yeah.
Johnny does not like spending money on Hoosier tires. He got 4 free ones. They were given 4 tires. They can replace them for the race tomorrow, but these tires were provided by Hoosier Racing Tire in this bracket challenge for the final 4 drivers, and this is how they're seated. Penn Sauter 4, Ty Majeski 1, Carson Brown 2, and Luke Fenhouse 3. That's where they were kind of in the overall seating as we pare this down. You know, if you're the number 1 seed in the NCAA tournament, you're still number 1 throughout the bracket.
Yeah.
So as Carson Brown had the faster laps most recently, Ty Majeski had the fastest lap in practice to set the seating.
Again, kind of a traditional, I guess, run for these drivers, as you would call it, or what they're used to, which, again, for Carson Brown, that could be quite dangerous if he's used to the speed that he's carrying right now. But as you mentioned, there's Penn Sauter taking to the racetrack right now. Again, they won't pair them up. It'll be individual efforts here for these drivers.
So Penn's going to give a couple of rips on brand new Hoosier tires, so that's a lot different. I mean, you're dialing in the heat, you're dialing in tires that have heat cycles on them. Now you got 4 fresh tires. What tire pressures do you put at it as the temperatures have yet to fall here in Wisconsin? Off of turn 2 look pretty good.
Yeah, 227 that first lap, and again, it'll be traditional qualifying here, green, white, then checkered.
Little tail happy that time off of 4.
And
there's a transition there. If you get too high in 4, that ramp coming down from the pits, it'll upset that race car if you get too high up off the groove.
That's a good point. 227, he nearly matched that identical lap time with a 228, then goes 302 for his second lap, so we'll pull it down to the infield. And 227, not quite sure if that'll be enough, but we'll see.
Now the time does matter. Fastest of the 4, banks the check from Incredible Bank. Hoosier Racing Tire and FloRacing. Sponsors of this bracket challenge. Luke Fenhouse raced this year. His first 2 races were in the NASCAR O'Reilly Series at Daytona and Atlanta. Trying to get opportunities to resume his racing in NASCAR after racing 13 or so, was it 14 truck races a year ago? For ThorSport Racing, Johnny Sauter's team owner that won a championship. Ty Majeski won the championship with ThorSport in 2024. They've got their eye northward from Sandusky, Ohio, here in Wisconsin, no question.
And immediately up to the top of the charts, a 176, now a 130. So of the 2 youngsters to go out early, it is Luke Fenhouse now trying to improve on a 176.
128, nice job, Luke.
He
Picked
actually,
it up.
goes 130, then goes 128. So 3rd lap, quickest.
If I have my notes right, Luke Fenhouse is an ancient dude. He's 22 years old. Penn Sauter is 16. Luke's been at it since he's 16 here in the Supers. Really cool to see how good he is time and time again with that family team. His dad, Al, spends tons of hours on that race car. Here's the number 81 of Carson Brown. Anthony Campy has been the man in charge. They've won championships. Anthony Campy actually won this Snowball Derby a year ago with Stephen Nassia as his driver in a team car to Carson Brown's number 81. Brown's just simply been on fire, and he nearly found a yellow stripe to match the red, white, and black on his Ebb Logistics 81 on the right side that time.
That's what he's been doing all day long. I was talking about it, watching him in practice. He barely gets down to the bottom, and then he gets right up against that outside wall. In fact, I mean, I wouldn't say some of those scrapes on the outside wall are for him because you don't see any yellow markings on this car. But
as in 003.
Wow. 003 for Carson Brown. In fact, his last lap was an 11:056. Still would have been good enough for the top spot.
Track record in probably 25-degree cooler weather. I was here that day when Steve Apel set the all-time track record in a couple years back, a 10.994 seconds. So we are within a whisker of track record speeds in the blaring sunshine. The Slinger Nationals teams have prepared well. Let's see how Ty Majeski holds up, and will he hold the $5,000 check after these a couple laps here?
And I would say that maybe that record could fall tomorrow, but it's supposed to be a little bit warmer tomorrow, so I don't know if the conditions will align for that. As Ty Majeski comes across 3rd fastest through that lap, 11:133. Man, love that we're zooming in on these guys. You can see how much they're wrestling these cars around this racetrack.
11:102, and he shuts it down. Majeski cannot top the driver of the 81. Carson Brown beat Ty Majeski to the checkered flag in a 200-lap race here in June, and under the ASA Stars sanction. And now Carson Brown rolls up and climbs out of his car, waving to the fans, earning new fans here as the fastest driver in the Slinger Bracket Challenge. Bobby's $5,000 richer.
often, I'd say. I might need to come back for the next one. But big thank you to Anthony Campy Racing, RCR, Chevy Wise, everybody that helps make this happen. But yeah, that was definitely a burner right there.
How close did you get to that backstretch wall? Because it looked like you couldn't even put a piece of paper between you and that yellow wall.
I don't know. I scare Anthony sometimes, so probably don't tell me. How about that? And we'll try not to hit it in 200 laps.
So $5,000, you're a guaranteed starter. You're ready for the Slinger Nationals tomorrow here in the heart of Wisconsin.
I think so. We've been on a tear lately, and this car is honestly completely different to what we won the ASA race on here less than a month ago. So I think so. Well, this place has its growing pains, but I think we're doing pretty good so far.
Carson Brown, the Bracket Challenge winner today at Slinger Super Speedway.
There he is, Carson Brown, $5,000 richer.
It's just saying something to beat Ty Majeski to anything in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Did it again.
I was going to say. But this kind of sets the point. Okay, so I know it's qualifying, and we even heard it earlier that there's some folks that they really qualify well here, but 200 laps is a little bit of a different story. We know that 81 car is fast. We know the 91 car is going to be fast. How does this set up tomorrow for a potential driver that's looking for his first Slinger Nationals victory in his first attempt versus somebody that is looking for his 5th victory?
And we'll have a 200-lap race tomorrow night. These drivers know they're the last 4 that will attempt to qualify for the Slinger Nationals tomorrow afternoon, where coverage begins at 4:30 Central Time here on FloRacing. But when it comes to laps, Luke Fenhaus's car was excellent at the lap 100 mark when he won the 100-lapper here last weekend, July 5th, I believe it was. So that car, and now getting the chance at the midway point of the race to make more changes, Fenhaus has a great race car, and I'm glad to see he's in the top 4 as well, because he will be a factor tomorrow night, Bob.
Luke Fenhaus will certainly be a factor tomorrow night, especially after that win in the tune-up. You missed just a little bit here. How did it feel during that run?
Yeah, not too bad. I think we have a good car for tomorrow night, and I'm excited to go there. But that was fun tonight, and yeah, congrats to 81 Camp. They killed it.
They did kill it. Penn Sauter, you killed it to make the Final 4 as well. And I know you're not feeling super duper, but you got to be pleased with the effort for you and this team.
Yeah, I'm surprised we went as fast as we did there. Like Luke said, I feel like I got a good car for the long haul. You know, we've worked really hard on it this whole week pretty much. We went and tested and did some other things, and yeah, it was fun tonight to obviously have the bracket challenge. I hope it's a thing next year. Obviously, hopefully we bring some sticker tires. But yeah, I think we'll be good.
Hopefully he'll be good tomorrow night here at the Slinger Nationals. We know this guy's going to be awfully good. Were you surprised you weren't able to get that top time coming into this one? That 81 is pretty darn good.
Yeah, once I heard that 003, I was like, I don't know. Yeah, I drove it like I probably needed to get that fast, and car just wasn't quite there, and I over-arced 3 just a little bit and didn't hit my apex on the first lap, but it was nowhere near a tenth. So, yeah, those Campy guys have been on it. Congrats to Carson and Anthony and all those guys. And, yeah, we'll work on our car tomorrow. We have good speed in it, and, yeah, I'll fine-tune it.
Ty Majeski awfully good here at Slinger. The drive for 5 is tomorrow night here at Slinger Super Speedway.
Majeski with a thumbs up there. Sign of respect for Carson Brown, knowing that they've got a race to run tomorrow. Likely they'll be right there in the mix. For 200 laps here to decide the winner of the 47th Cobblestone Hotels Slinger Nationals. So the fastest car is Carson Brown at a 0:03. Majeski 1:02, 11:227, 1:28. Those are the times. That's how close it's going to be. Qualifying tomorrow afternoon, locks in the top 16. Can you tell I'm still excited? I'm really excited, man. I can't wait for tomorrow now.
I can
for
tell.
These supers.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great. And again, shout out to everybody here at Slinger Super Speedway. Really cool concept, really cool idea, innovative. It's a little bit different. We've heard from the drivers and teams talking about that this is something that is kind of pushing them outside of their comfort zone, which I think it's always great to see in racing. Try something new, a bold idea, and again, cool way to set the qualifying order and get these guys to, try and qualify and give out $5,000. When we come back, it is more of the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series race. They have 100 laps later on tonight. More racing still to come here at Slinger Super Speedway, live on Flow. Bracket Challenge has wrapped up here for day 2 of 3 here at the 47th Annual Slinger Nationals from Slinger, Wisconsin. At Slinger Super Speedway, we're at the end of it all. Carson Brown, the youngster turning 18 today, gets to take home a pretty nice check, $5,000. A little more than what his grandfather may have left him or so on a birthday or so when you're growing up. You know, you get some checks or get some money from your relatives. May have a little more to take home as we take a look at what was a pretty interesting qualifying session. A lot of drivers were pushing their cars to the edge. We saw this out of the 17 big slide there for Grant Griesbach. He was able to hold on to it. Carson Brown set the tone early. He ended up taking it all at the end of this thing. And then how about we even saw a spin in the midst of this highlight as well.
Carson Brown, a teenager racing across the country in late models and ARCA cars against this guy, Tristan McKee. Look what he does in turn 3.
Oh!
Doesn't quite make turn 4. The thrill show is next week, Tristan.
Yes. Again, you can come back to Slinger Super Speedway to be able to watch that. Carson Brown continuing his march through. Was fastest in nearly every round that we were eliminating drivers. Was that 81 Anthony Campy racing machine? And how about, again, I said upset only because of where he was ranked, 6 versus 22.
22nd fastest in overall practice speeds. Put him well down in the order, but he kept with heavyweight knuckles, man, bouncing his way through the next round with some heavy right-handers.
Yeah, he did that, did Steve Apel. And also got to mention Ty Majeski. We know he's going to be a favorite. We know he's going to be a driver that can certainly win tomorrow. Sets himself up with a great qualifying draw later, as well as Penn Sauter, who again I think is looking forward to getting a good night's rest tomorrow after slugging that car all the way to the end of this bracket. But then Carson Brown yet again showed the speed throughout each and every round. Went out, put new tires on it, and did the same thing again.
And that car did not wiggle once in these runs during the bracket challenge. Here is Luke Fenhouse now rolling through. He made it to the Final Four with this good run at a track he knows very well. Carson Brown, just his second trip here to this racetrack. Pepperjack Kennels, the sponsor of the rear bumper. They have a program going with Save22.vet where they actually have dogs helping veterans. Great program that young drivers adapted to across the country in everything he races.
And again, has been getting it done in the straight rail side of things and looking to continue that on the perimeter chassis as well a little bit later on this week.
Yeah, hangs out Lee Pulliam on occasion.
Yeah. Runs for Lee Pulliam Performance. He'll be at North Wilkesboro Speedway with us on FloRacing a little bit later on this week.
I'll be dialed in, baby. I'm dialed in.
And of course, for all of you who are tuning in tonight on FloRacing 24/7, if you're watching tonight's race live on the FloRacing 24/7 channel. First of all, welcome. We appreciate that you're here. This is an exclusive look at the kind of action FloRacing streams all year long, whether it's dirt, pavement, drag racing, and everything else in between. You can scan the QR code that is shown right there on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, or you can visit FloRacing.com to access thousands of races live and on demand, as well as the 47th Annual Slinger Nationals tomorrow night.
2 drivers have said, I don't want to race just one race, I want to race 2. Dennis Prunty in that black number 42 is one of the 2 drivers. He's also won here in late models. He's won a Slinger Nationals, a driver that's certainly done well here. I think top 5 in the last 6 super late model races, Bob. He's in the field tonight running the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series race.
And Derek Kraus just got out of that super late model with all that horsepower, and now with a little less horsepower in a pro late model with the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series. You're on the point, leading the field to the green flag. Do you know what to expect?
I feel like I got a lot of laps around here, so hopefully we can keep it where it is right now and end up in victory lane at the end of the night.
I'm going to let people in on a little secret. You said when I walked up to you, man, I wish my super was this good. How good is this Van Doren race car going into this event?
Yeah, for sure. It's really good. I'm really comfortable with it, and just got to keep the tires on it. It's kind of different race with a super compared to a pro, so I think this is my first or second ever pro late model race, so kind of new to me, but the racetrack's very familiar. So overall, it's been a lot of fun learning it, and thanks to Ed and Billy for letting me run the race car.
Derek Kraus leading the field to the green flag here for the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series.
That's Eddie and Billy Van Meter, the Edco welding team with Maston and Kane, their sponsor. Eddie's here racing the Super. Billy Van Meter won the championship in the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series presented by Chevrolet Performance last year. Billy's in the show. But as it turns out, the top 8 drivers actually got a redraw. They pulled their pill determining their starting position. So Kraus will start on the front row inside. Let's go trackside.
Rolling off from the 17th position, driving the number 5, Billy's Ultimate Racing Products, WD Racing Marketing Motorsports Ford. From Midland, Michigan, Will Sahutsky. Rolling off 16th, driving the number 13, PMI Progress Manufacturing, Reed Haver Racing Products Ford. From Hartford, Wisconsin, it's Rick Reading Tuckman. Starting 15th, driving the number 87, Shakers Auto Salvage, City Scrap and Salvage, Hole Up Recycling Chevrolet. From Akron, Ohio, Chloe Mazzagatti. Starting 14, driving the number 22, Sterling Sanitation Chevrolet. From Belmont, Michigan, Austin Hall. Rolling off 13th, driving the number 16, Acoustic Supply B&D Plumbing Toyota. From Wausau, Wisconsin, Cooper Gorolski. Taking the green from the 12th position, driving the number 28, MachineryForSale.com, Race 1 Wraps, Wasilco Lawn Chevrolet. From Rochester Hills, Michigan, Kevin Cremonesi. Starting 11th, driving the number 23, Edco Welding, Maston and Kane Warehousing Chevrolet, the 2025 Turn 1 Series Pro Series champion. From Indianapolis, Indiana, Billy Van Meter. Rolling off 10th, driving the number 33, Francis Engineering, League and Trucking, Habco Tool Development Chevrolet. From Painesville, Ohio, Albert Francis. Rolling off 9th, driving the number 45, Prestige Steel Chevrolet. From Clarkston, Michigan, it's Michael Simcoe. Taking the green from the 8th position, driving the number 42, Stone Mountain Access, Zeeler Transportation Chevrolet. From Allenton, Wisconsin, Dennis Prunty. Starting 7th, driving the number 71, Lisa Thomas Salon, Precision Fleet TK Racing Chevrolet. From Clarkston, Michigan, the 2024 Turn 1 Series Pro Series champion, Blake Rowe. Starting 6th, driving the number 8, Johnson & Sons Paving, Lannon Stone Toyota. From Xena, Wisconsin, Jaden Johnson. Rolling off 5th, driving the number 14, US 131 Motorsports Park, Van Dorn Racing Development, HD5 Chevrolet. From Bell River, Ontario, Chase Pinsino. Taking the green from the 4th position, driving the number 32, Kalamazoo Metal Recyclers, James E. Fulton Excavation Chevrolet. Coming in from Lawton, Michigan, Chris Shannon. Rolling off 3rd, driving the number 4, Van Dorn Racing Development, Anderson Floor Covering Tempo Chevrolet. From Clarkston, Michigan, Tyler Lupton. Taking the green from the 2nd position, driving the number 24, Don Christie Memorial, Last Chance Wrecker Service Chevrolet, the Boilermaker. From Fishers, Indiana, Sam Johnson. And leading the field of green, driving the number 9, Edco Welding, Maston and Kane, Chevrolet from Stratford, Wisconsin, Derek Kraus. Race fans, your starting lineup for today's Fire Suppression Solutions 100. Race fans, we are 5 minutes away from starting this race, and
well,
there's
they're
a
clearing
lot
the infield
to
for one good
discover and a
reason.
lot
We're going
to
racing
know.
for 100 laps in the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series presented by Chevrolet Performance. This was the JEG CRA All-Stars Tour, renamed this year with Turn 1 High Performance Steering coming on board as the sponsor. Renaming it because the Marty Mello has taken over the ownership of ASA and the CRA Super Series and the CRA, what is now the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series, as well as the ASA Stars and ASA Midwest Tour. So this is a transgression and a progression, if you will. This series this year has only raced twice. Weather and other issues have prevented more races going on, but when you have the talents of like Trayton Lapsevich racing in this series, he's won a NASCAR Canada Championship. He is really good. He's not here tonight, but when you have guys like that racing in the Big O Classic that they did in their first race, beating Blake Rowe and Tyler Lupton and Chase Pincinel for the win there, that says something. You also have Chase Pincinel coming off a victory, the Motor City 125 at Flat Rock Speedway. He's in car number 14. He also races full-time in the ASA Stars, raced full-time last year in the ASA CRA Super Series as well, and finished runner-up last year in this series. A lot of track, a lot of laps at this level for Chase Pincinel out of Ontario. Michael Simcoe finished third at Flat Rock Speedway. Albert Francis, another driver that has a lot of national experience in supers, is committed to run this series full-time this year out of Paynesville, Ohio. His family builds a lot of big horsepower engines for tractor pulls, truck pulls, dirt late models, and Albert's right in the middle of all that, building his own engines for his race car, and sometimes they ran out of time to go racing if it's a midweek show. So I'm glad they're here tonight. Albert got the day off from the machine shop building engines.
Well, I can't wait to see the contrast between the drivers that we saw earlier today that had a lot of practice laps, a lot of them, a lot of experience at this racetrack, even if they're a young race car driver, and then kind of turning things over to this series. Again, this is a first visit for this series to this racetrack, and I know we were even kind of discussing this earlier about the drivers in this field who have been here before. It's a pretty short list when you're looking at this field in terms of drivers who have made those laps around this racetrack. So the contrast, I think, will be fun to see versus what we saw earlier and what we'll see tonight here with a lot of drivers that when you throw 100 laps in front of them here at Slinger Super Speedway, they have not experienced that a whole lot.
Yeah, 7 of the drivers have had racetrack experience here. However, 5 of the 6 Wisconsin natives have never raced in the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series before. So there's a lot of figuring things out. We might know the racetrack, but we don't know the competition. The competition is going to be quick learners because they do this all the time. Their next race is their biggest race of the year. July 22nd, it's a Wednesday night at Owasso Speedway, the Masters of the Pros 200. That's an annual big deal for pro late model racers from across the country. Kyle Crump is here helping the Maston and Kane team with the Van Beaters. He won that race a year ago. That's coming up again, another midweek show for this series that's really got a rebirth, regrowth here with another great field of cars here tonight for the first time at Slinger.
And again, a little bit less horsepower is what Bob was mentioning earlier in Derek Kraus. And again, it will drive a little bit different. It's probably, 3 or 4 tenths or so slower a lap than what we would see in the super late models, give or take. But that doesn't mean that you're hardly losing that speed in the corner. It's all down the straightaways that you're losing a lot of that speed. They're still hauling around these corners.
Oh, yeah, for
you
sure.
still have to have a great handling race car to be able to get around this place.
And 4 of these drivers have raced in the late model division. That's the secondary division of the supers here. When the supers aren't racing, generally it's a late model show, headlining with the various other 4 or 5 divisions on a weekly Sunday night. So when it comes to getting that experience, there's some drivers that have raced just last week in this field that raced late models at Slinger. There are drivers in this field like Gabrielle Grigsby, who raced here last year in the ASA Stars race, but never raced here in a pro late. So as she is counted among the drivers that have had experience here, there's a lot of differences in laps and that kind of thing. And Dennis Prunty, I think he's got 3 podium finishes this year in late models at Slinger alone in a pro late model. And he runs his super late model here. It's a great success as well. So a lot of laps in comparison. Cooper Goralski as well. Some late model experience here in the number 16 car we'll see here on track.
And again, they qualified based off of their practice times earlier today, or excuse me, they had a single car qualifying session. Basically, as we were about to go live for the bracket challenge, they were just wrapping up their qualifying time. So We'll see how that sorts out. Again, Derek Kraus started on the front row talking to Bob Dillner. He said, I wish my Super was this good, and he was showing that throughout the day in the Pro Series practice that we were able to watch, was how good that car, how steady it looked. Kind of, I mean, very reminiscent of what we saw out of Carson Brown in the number 81 car, where we kind of made the point, man, that car's not wiggling a whole lot. It's staying straight. It looks like it's easy to drive. It's not, but he's making it look easy, and Kraus kind of in that same situation here, starting on the front row.
And this is a 4-tire race, no pit stop. So you better have your car underneath you at lap 75, lap 80, because it'll magnify those last 20. If things are going sideways, it'll go really sideways here with this close of a field of competition.
And one thing that always happens here at Slinger, and even looking at the results of the Slinger Nationals year by year, a lot of cars go a lap down here. It happens quickly. When cars are hooked up, they are hooked up, and when they're not, they're not, and there's not really a whole lot of space to hide here.
And with the lack of horsepower compared to a Super, you have to pick your moments. You could lose half a track to a car if you're behind a lap car and you pick the wrong lane entering the corner here. Fans are settling in. This is an added feature bonus for you here on this Monday night. This was a late add to the deal, but I'm excited because when these teams were going to be committed to this full schedule, 12 teams have committed. Let's go to the house.
Solutions 100. Here to give the command for the event, welcome Amy and friends from Fire Suppression Solutions.
Drivers, start your engines!
Representatives from Fire Suppression Solutions and Wisconsin Freemasons sponsoring this Turn 1 CRA Pro Series inaugural run at Slinger Super Speedway. Given the command with Jonathan Ramos, who's going to join us here in a few minutes. The voice of the series.
Did a great job getting these fans hyped up. Derek Kraus and Jaden Johnson, that number 8 car that you can see there on the right-hand side of your screen. Starting on the front row, the Johnson some paving number 8.
He's the guy I'm going to watch. He's my pre-race favorite. Jaden Johnson raced 1 year here at Slinger last year in a full-size stock car. Won Rookie of the Year, and he won the championship. So I'm thinking Johnson's got an advantage here.
You're mentioning Casey Johnson and all the work that he does. He's just running a little bit earlier in our bracket challenge. Crew chief on that number 8 car.
In every way, he's involved in setting up that car, but he also told me that Jaden's very involved hands-on. He does not know what turning the lights out means. He's like, wait, I got one more thing I need to do on that car. That kid's very active at age 17 to get involved and get not just the helmet in hand, but wrenches in hand to help that car get fast. Pretty cool. We're rolling. The Turn 1 CRA Pro Series Fire Suppression Solutions 100 presented by Wisconsin Freemasons is rolling trackside here. Great field of cars. Blake Rowe has won just about everything everywhere in a Pro Late model and a modified for that matter. Man, he's a beast when it comes to modifieds. He's in Tommy K-Mac's red number 72 on Lisa Thomas Salon's car. He'll figure out things quickly. That man is a machine, and I think he's starting a little bit further back when he wants to, but Blake Rowe will be a factor here like he is in every time the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series hits the racetrack. Bob, one more thing from you. What you got?
Want to focus on Chloe Mazzagatti, starting a little bit further back than she wanted to, but she's only 14 years old, and she's got a lot of racing experience. But I just talked to her before she got in that race car. She says, I've never seen anything like Slinger Super Speedway. I've never been on higher banking than this. She said it's taken a time for her to get adapted to this. She wants to complete all 100 laps. That's the goal here today. But man, can she wheel an Outlaw late model?
Outlaw late models, man. She has done all 3 races this year, and those things are glued to the racetrack. They are unbelievable beasts. And for her to make the transition here to this car, it has to be a lot to challenge, but also a welcome challenge as she's racing full time here in this series in 2026.
Well, again, a lot of experience that you can garner in, again, 100 laps. You know, Kenny Chesney wrote a song, Don't Blink. I think that's kind of the mentality you have here. Those 100 laps can click by very, very quickly as we'll welcome the third member of our broadcast team. You heard him down there trackside with all the pre-race ceremonies and driver introductions. Able to join us up here in the broadcast booth, Jonathan Ramos. Welcome.
Oh, so glad to be here. I mean,
so the shrimp platter's over here. The chiller for the wine to the temperature you require is over here. Welcome to the booth.
Absolutely. It's always a great day when you're at Slinger Speedway.
You've only been here a couple times. I kind of grew up here. I love this place for every reason that you and I have talked about before. The ASA Stars have raced here. You were here as the Midwest Tour pit reporter for the live stream of that event back here in April. It's a lot to take in because it happens so fast. And if you're not on your game, it's going to show real quick.
And I think that was the biggest thing that caught everyone off storm, including the drivers that came from Michigan. How quickly you drive here, because some of them thought it would be something like Anderson Speedway, which is 18 degrees compared to 33 degrees up into turns 3 and 4. And when you were going and running less than 12-second lap times, it was unbelievable to them. And for me, I mean, just visually, you can see it, Jim, consistently. And if you're not used to it, it can definitely catch you by surprise.
It's the wave lap. That pace truck's going to pull in. You're right, in every fashion. And I honestly believe at some point these drivers will be told, remember to breathe, because it's going to go so quick. And then when you're in competition, I've seen late model races that might take 15 laps to make a pass as they go side by side, lap upon lap here on this quarter mile.
Now, I was talking with Carson Brown actually earlier about that resin and how it makes it a multi-groove racetrack. It's going to do the same thing here in the pros, but really interested to see. You can even see it's worn out a little bit there on the bottom. So drivers pace on by. And by the way, speaking of pace on by, they're about ready to go green.
To the flag we come. Derek Kraus on the inside. Johnson on the outside, the 24. Turn 1 CRI Pro Series racing continues on here for the first time. We're underway. The green is out on the Fire Suppression Solutions 100.
Coming around to lead lap 1, Derek Kraus, and he was a driver that everyone in the back pits was worried about. You get him out too early, is he just going to run away with it from the start?
So in this series, he didn't qualify fastest, but he was one of the first 8, the top 8 qualifying, right? They redrew for their own position. Is that how that works, Jonathan?
So the top 8 redraw, that's how it goes ahead and works. You have the quick qualifiers, and they'll go ahead and get points. Top 3 go ahead and get it, and then the top 8 have a redraw. From there, that's what sets the rest of the field.
And now we see the number 14 on the inside of Chase Pinsino. He's raced here in the ASA Stars, getting underneath last year's track champ, Jaden Johnson. This is Johnson's first time in competition in 2026 at his home track.
And it was took quite tight off of turn number 4, the last lap for Jaden Johnson, who's finally able to get away. Try to wrestle away that position.
Michael Simcoe we saw position. That's Billy Van Meter. As much as he's raced around the upper Midwest, it's his first trip around Slinger Super Speedway. The Maston and K number 23, the defending series champ.
Now, if you go ahead and look at the leaderboard, you may be asking a couple questions. Hey, why did Tackman start deep in the field? Why did Blake Rowe start deep in the field? Following qualifying, Blake Rowe actually made contact with the turn 4 wall, trying to set quick time, and guess what? Had to make an unapproved adjustment. He had to start from the rear, and for Redding Tackman, there was actually a good chance he was going to start 1 lap down. Matter of fact, he did because of more unapproved adjustments with the rear end of his race car.
Rick Reddick Tackman debuted that car a year ago, 1 week ago here at Slinger, nearly won the feature. But fortunately for that team, they've got a long hill to climb as the laps are clicking off. Gabrielle Grigsby pulls to the inside.
I'll tell you what, those through these first couple of laps, how about that 32 car, Chris Shannon, already marching up a couple of positions and all over the back bumper of that 24 car, Sam Johnson. But Jim, you just made the point before we started this race, sometimes it can take 15 laps or so to set up that pass and be able to complete it. They passed a little bit of lap traffic that came into play, but this is exactly how Chris Shannon, a lot of speed, but it's one thing to get there, it's another thing to pass. And again, they race a little bit different here in Wisconsin. They take care of each other. There's a lot of respect up here.
I think it goes back to the times when Dick Trickle and Mark Martin would race 4, 5, 6 nights a week against the same competition. They said, hey man, I don't want to wreck your stuff. I don't want to fix my stuff. Don't run into me. Trickle was always famous in saying, if you want to pass me, find a way around me, not through me. Yeah. You don't need to hit me to pass me. You need to find a way to pass me. And that's kind of how things have continued to progress here in the upper Midwest.
Burning laps here in this race, 88 to go. Do note, last time Chris Shannon went to victory lane, it was around a year ago at a small bull ring quarter mile called Whittemore Speedway. The driver ahead of him, Sam Johnson, he goes to school at the University of Purdue. I believe it was his roommate, was also a race car driver, that being in the legend form, Battle of the Racetrack. Chase Pinsino to the inside of Tyler Lupton.
As for P4, as that 4 car, Tyler Lupton gonna slide on back. Chase Pinsino getting to spend time in the Carson Hocevar Racing camp in that number 14.
Lupton's got some great support behind him in that black number 4. The Van Doren's helping him in every way. Lupton actually just made his ARCA Menard Series debut at Berlin Raceway for the team that Carson Brown's doing a whole lot of great things with in ARCA. For Pinnacle Racing Group, got to run his home track. So as things progress, a lot of young talent coming to fore here.
4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here. 4 here.
Derek Cross leads, Sam Johnson, Chris Shannon, Chase Pinsino, Tyler Lupton, and Jaden Johnson.
Dennis Prunty. Oh, he got the biggest amount of cheers there in pre-race.
He used to get booed a lot because he won a bunch of races when he was running late models, winning Slinger Speedway super late races.
I tell you what, Chris Shannon there in that 32 car, he had a big moment off of turn 4, and kind of that exact condition that you would talk about where guys are tight on entry, they're having to put a bunch of wheel into it. When you see them slide on exit, it's usually not because they're loose, because you can't make a car turn too well here in the center of the corner, or else you're just out to lunch.
Michael Simcoe moved up the hill. That Prestige still number 45. That's a great move on his part. Didn't want to get pressured, didn't want to get in anybody's way. He knows he's got a car. And right now, if he cooked the tires trying to keep pace, you need to cool him off a little bit. Give those guys a gap. Maybe lose a spot or two in that number 45.
And I actually want to go and talk about the driver that's behind him. That's Austin Hull. Usually he drives the number 20 machine, but due to how owner points work with the Platinum program, the full-time situation with the Turn 1 Series Pro Series, Austin Hull put the 22 for Jimmy Tucker. Because Tucker still wants to run the full season. Austin Hull on a part-time basis, mainly focusing on his Berlin gear, his Berlin races, trying to go back for another track championship. They came to an alliance, said, hey, let's make this technically the Tucker team for today so we can go ahead and hold on to the points. Tucker couldn't bring his car over from Michigan, and that's how it all came together.
Nice. Hey, this is Jaden Johnson, who lives nearby in Ixonia, Wisconsin. It's his first trip this year to Slinger Super Speedway, but he was probably the most excited person in Wisconsin when they said, we're bringing the Turn 1 Series Pro Series here to Slinger. Here's Bob Dillner with more.
Well, guys, I'll tell you, it's not fun for Jaden Johnson, but it's fun for us to watch him. That car just way too free for him. When he gets into the corner, he is almost spinning out and really working the wheel. It'd be a good shot with our FloRacing cameras to see inside that cockpit. I just talked to his crew chief, Casey Johnson. He said, man, he's just holding on right now for dear life. Jaden Johnson with a handful.
And you'll see kind of the approach that he's taking, or at least did those last couple of laps. When you're really loose in here, you never really want to turn in, so you wash up that banking a little bit to try and help that condition a little bit, so you don't turn in so aggressively. And you're not going to see that as much in a Pro Late model, but Johnson just trying to manage that right now.
Yeah, he's actually seeking other tracks. He's going to Golden Sand Speedway. He's going to other tracks here in Wisconsin. He raced the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing this year in this Johnson & Sons paving number 8 with Casey Johnson involved with that deal. Casey's racing this weekend, so Jaden's got to get John Reynolds, Racer at Driver X, to help him out. John will be racing tomorrow night in the late models. He's going for a track championship here at Slinger.
Watching the battle on the racetrack. Albert Francis, you saw Prunty get a little bit loose off turn 2, trying to work that wheel. Albert Francis won the final. Oh, Kevin Cremonesi, great save into turns 1 and 2. Had Billy Van Meter on his outside, and Francis gives a nudge to Prunty off 4.
Once in a while, that banking can really help save that race car. Again, that's just a common case where you just chop down on the driver behind you. Enter on the inside, that contact between Billy Van Meter and Cremonesi, who's able to save that race car.
Francis up to 7th. Van Meter 8th. Dennis Prunty shuffled back to 9th here in the order. Cremonesi recovered nicely here. He's right back in it, trying to move his way forward in the back half of the top 10.
Cremonesi, the University of Michigan graduate, actually worked at Joe Gibbs Racing for quite some time and then went back to Michigan, almost had a satellite program, still working for Gibbs, but wants to run on the weekends and says, hey, all of his teammates, everyone, the co-workers, they love watching him race on FloRacing. And you can see it right here, kind of just mired in a tough situation. Austin Hull, fast car. Prunty, not scared to go ahead and thread the needle or force the driver in a tough position that's trying to make up a spot.
Yeah, I've seen Prunty many times here at Slinger Super Speedway bait drivers, make them overuse their stuff, and he just goes right on by them. So as Prunty's trying to figure out his handling here in one of the longer races they'll have this year in the late models or Pro Late models at Slinger, Prunty's got it figured out here in the black number 42. Prunty's won the Slinger Nationals here. He's won Slinger Championships in Super Lates, and he put together a Pro Late model this year, and I'm glad to see it racing here tonight, Bob.
Yeah, but he's not having a good time. I spoke to him a little earlier before this race, and I said, how goes it? And he goes, man, this is supposed to be my vacation. This is supposed to be fun, and I'm not having any fun. And right now, not having any fun inside the cockpit of that race car. Just way too tight right now for the 42.
And Dennis is his own crew chief. He does a lot of his own changes on the car. He's got a great dedicated crew. And he knows exactly what he might want to change, but won't have a chance to in this race with 100 laps without pit stops and the same 4 Hoosier tires.
Hard to look away from this battle that's been going on. Jaden Johnson and Tyler Lupton right there, car number 4. This is for the 5th position. We did have a change up for 2nd. Chris Shannon was able to get by Sam Johnson a couple of laps ago and is trying to set his sights on your race leader, Derek Kraus, who has led all 42 laps since the drop of the green. And Derek Kraus, his fastest lap of the race was run on lap 38. So not losing a ton of speed, even while he's trying to get by some lap traffic.
Working lap 44 here of the Fire Suppression Solutions 100 presented by the Wisconsin Freemasons. Johnson again takes several laps sometimes, gets the inside of Lupton and makes the pass.
Now do note, if we don't get a caution within the next 6 laps, we'll have a competition caution. It does wave after 50 consecutive green flag laps, but cannot wave within the final 10 laps. So if a caution does wave now, we won't have a competition caution for the rest of the event. But if we don't have one waving in 5 laps or so, well, the caution will wave, and we're going to go ahead and stack the field back up.
And I think the fans here in the stands are impressed by this field of cars. The majority have never raced here before. So to go this long without a caution flag, it says a lot about the caliber of competition and what these teams are prepared to do here. As we see Johnson going around with a fellow Wisconsinite and Rick Reddick-Tackman at the number 13.
I think there are a lot of drivers that are really looking to that competition caution, that are begging their crew chiefs. Bob's, I'm sure, hearing from a number of them that are screaming on the radio. They need some help. They want some help. They're looking forward to it. Derek Kraus probably not one of those drivers that's in that camp. He's still 1.3 seconds ahead of Chris Shannon and has been picking off lap traffic, can go low, can go high, has a really versatile race car so far this afternoon.
That driver just ahead of the number 16 of Cooper Goralski out of Wausau, Wisconsin in the Horning Well Drilling Toyota. He's hoping to stay right where he is if the caution does come out so he can stay on the lead lap. That white and black number 16 right now racing ahead of our race leader as we're closing in on what could be a competition caution. In 12th position is Goralski.
Competition caution has waved after 50 consecutive green flag laps. How about that for Derek Kraus, and how he got into this race is so interesting. We know Kraus is going to be racing for the Slinger Nationals tomorrow, but the idea of him working with the Van Dorn Racing Development Team, almost alliance with Billy Van Muir. I asked Butch earlier today, I said, so is this the same team? He's like, no, we're just good friends. We're going to give them some things. They're going to give us some info. They're going to give us some info. The car kind of looks like Van Meters, but different number and same sponsor. We're just good friends.
Yeah. Derek said the Van Dorns, this opportunity came about because of his move to the Van Dorn Racing chassis. Carl Usher is also a gentleman who's involved very much in their program, and he works at Van Dorn Racing Development. And he actually is part of Derek's ASA Stars National Tour Super Late crew. Carl's here as well. But the idea to get Derek in this car, he was pretty excited. He had a busy week as well this week. He actually was in a photo shoot for a sponsor at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and he had to stand in for Carson Hocevar in the commercial shoot. And I asked him, I said, how do you do that? You're like 18 inches shorter than him. How's that going to work? He said, I don't know. They haven't told me yet, but I got to be there at 6 in the morning. I said, ooh, that's even bad. I know he's not a morning guy, but he had to be at the 10 Pence, whatever that thing is across from Charlotte, at 6 in the morning, I think, on Wednesday morning. He's like, I don't like that idea.
Oh,
but
man.
here he is.
So I guess, if you have a fire suit and you have a helmet on, I guess maybe you can't tell.
And about 19 encyclopedias.
Yeah.
Take the low angle,
The hero shot.
Yeah, right. Neck up, please. Don't show the whole body. Yeah.
Derek Kraus, Chris Shannon. Chase Pistono was able to get by Sam Johnson, who really lost the handle of his race car the last couple of laps, for 3rd. Johnson back to 4th. And then Jaden Johnson, car number 8, we saw him get by Tyler Lupton about 20 laps ago. He was able to maintain his spot in the 5th position.
I find it interesting how Lupton's car is handling. I think, Blake, you saw it a little bit earlier, too, with about 6 laps to go before that competition caution. I mean, we're talking the rear end sliding off exit of every single corner.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit interested how this driver, this team, what they're going to do in the next couple minutes or so. Do you go to the back pits to make the adjustments, to ride it out? Do you hope maybe the track can change? Maybe the tires can go through a quick cooling cycle and maybe something can work your way? But just not a big fan of what we saw in the closing laps, but just never know. For Lupton, a young driver trying to get some laps in here with the Turn 1 Speedway Pro Series ahead of the biggest pro late model event of the year, that being the Masters of the Pros 200 at Owasso Speedway. That will be July 22nd.
That's a Wednesday show as well. It's going to be really cool. Rex Wheeler and the whole gang at Owasso Speedway have done a magical job on that racetrack, and I'm glad to see they're getting some great national series coming to that beautiful facility in Michigan. Derek Kraus leads us here under this competition caution environment, which gives us another chance to check in with our pit reporter here on Flow, Bob Dillner.
Derek's dad was a pretty good shoe as well around the Midwest. And how is your son doing right now? What is he saying about the car?
He's actually saying the car is really good. He's been riding, really hard. Actually, this is the first time he's ever been in a Pro late model. He's never driven one before, and Eddie Van Meter and Billy and everybody at Van Dorn gave him the opportunity to do this, and so he gave it a shot. But we'll see what happens here. I feel everybody might have been riding there till this break, and we'll see, who really is going to come to the front now.
Has he been saving his stuff at all? He had a pretty good lead for a while.
Yeah, he's been saving. We've been giving him lap times. He's been saving. He never really pushed it there, and so we'll see.
Hey, Trado, you've watched that guy race a lot himself. How good was Mark?
Mark Kraus is good. That car number is the style that Mark had, and Mark really did well in the what was the NASCAR Midwest Series. He raced head-to-head against his son in the ASA Midwest Tour race at Milwaukee, and he beat his kid. That's right as Derek was racing full-time in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series, so Mark still could get behind the wheel, but it's so neat to see them do this together. And when they won the ASA Stars race last year at Newport Speedway, a track similar to Slinger Speedway, it was an amazing night. The family team beat the big dogs that night, and I think they have that appeal to people that say, why do you want to cheer for Derek Kraus? Well, I'm going to give you one more reason to watch tomorrow night on FloRacing. Derek Kraus has finished 1, 2, 3, 4, top 5 in the last 6 Slinger Nationals. He's finished 5th in the, or better, 5th or 4th in the last 4 ASA Midwest Tour or ASA Stars races here at Slinger Speedway. And if Newport Speedway is like Slinger, he went from the back to the front twice at that racetrack last summer to win his first ASA Stars race.
I believe that was 16th the first.
Yeah, crazy good at these kind of racetracks. So he's got a free play day. No points, no pressure. Not the Slinger Nationals. I got to run a hard lapper the night before. And wouldn't you know it, he pulled the #1 pill to start on the front row.
It's even better. What if he wins today and then wins the Slinger Nationals? Ooh. That's $10,000 coming from Marty and Misty Mello.
No way.
That extra bonus.
That's awesome. Is it available for Dennis Prunty too, or just Derek Kraus?
All of them.
All
Anyone who wins today, that race is tomorrow.
All right. Those are the two to cheer for. Got to sign up to FloRacing to find out. We're going racing tomorrow night to determine the winner of the 47th annual Cobblestone Hotel Slinger Nationals. Back to green and Slinger in the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series. Fire Suppression Solutions 100.
Final 50 laps. This is the best challenge that Derek Kraus has gotten all night. We talked about how quick Chris Shannon was as soon as they dropped the green flag. Oh, a little contact in one. They'll slide up the track. Shannon not quite into the wall, but that brings Pisano right into the mix as well.
Oh, he's going to try to knife himself in on the bottom side of the racetrack. Pinsino gets jammed in. Shannon still won't give in. They're nearly side by side on the back straightaway.
Advantage Kraus with the track knowledge, guys. He knows exactly how wide he can make that car on the inside and leave a room plus an inch for the car running the outside of him on the backstretch.
Pinsino into Chris Shannon. They keep it pointed straight.
How? That was crazy. That's the lightest the car is going to be in the rear is coming off of turn 2, and that's where the contact was made, and both cars carried on.
And Shannon wanted to get down to the bottom, trying to shut the door on Pinsino. He's finally going to be able to do just that, but oh, and we got a spin.
Simcoe to the infield. He also went to the pits at the halfway break for an adjustment. So Michael Simcoe, the 45-year-old, has made has spun to the infield. He's run a handful of these races in the series since 2022. 51 ARCA races. Yep, the same Michael Simcoe that was so good and so dominant for years in outlaw late models as well in Ohio and Michigan.
Got to think about David Simcoe as well. The whole Simcoe last name.
Yep.
Their history, their tenure in racing. Not just in Michigan, through the ARCA Menard Series.
So Michael Simcoe Simcoe brings out the caution here in the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series event. We're going to step away and come right back to Slinger Super Speedway. Stick with us. Here we are on a Monday night racing at Slinger Super Speedway. Tomorrow night is the 47th annual Cobblestone Hotel Slinger Nationals for super late models, paying 20 grand to win. 200 laps tomorrow night. What a great addition to this festival, starting yesterday with 5 divisions racing on a Sunday night, the traditional night here at Slinger Super Speedway. All the hot dogs were in practice for them yesterday. A full day of practice today in bright sunshine, and a hot, sunny Tuesday. We'll greet these teams tomorrow afternoon with the super lates, joined by the weekly late models here at Slinger Super Speedway. We're going to get our coverage started at 4:30 Central Time on FloRacing tomorrow to bring you one of the big short track races. I call it one of the crown jewels. Maybe I'm partial because I'm from this area. But there are not too many races that can boast the heavy hitters that have raced in this event, and even more impressive, the heavy hitters that have won this event. Matt Kenseth 8 times. Joe Shear 4 times. Ty Majeski's won his 4th in the last 8 races, Slinger Nationals, and he's the defending champion of the series. Of all the things he's done, racing full-time in NASCAR, living in Wisconsin, racing out of Ohio shops, Majeski loves racing here at Slinger Speedway.
Yeah, you told the repave earlier today that in terms of prestige, it doesn't get any bigger for him than being somebody that's from this area, from Wisconsin, and being able to win the Slinger Nationals.
And with Ty's win at Road American and THU car, he's won on every pavement track he competed on in his home state. I was like, really? He said, yeah, I've won on every track in every, at least once in the state of Wisconsin. That's Slinger, Milwaukee Mile, Madison, Golden Sands, Marshfield, La Crosse. He's the reigning champ of the Oktoberfest race. There's a lot that he takes pride in, and winning here in his home state's a big importance for him and his team that have been together now for 13 years. The same guys that started in the Super Lates are with him still. They're doing pretty well. They continue to raise the bar for other drivers to succeed here in Wisconsin. Oh no! Chris Shannon's off the pace. He was just racing for the restart lead here a few laps ago.
Yeah, they already came to the choose, and it appears he will not be part of it. Your driver that was running in the 2nd position.
So Jonathan, the teams can make pit stops. You saw a couple go into the pits and come back out. What can they change under pit stops if Shannon has enough time to do so?
So let's go ahead and just wonder what's going on. I mean, he's definitely looking at switches. So I mean, you got to wonder the battery, right? Is there something electrical that you could change and fix? You can definitely go back and do it. And the teams are going to go for the fail safes right away. Check the ignition box, which so far with MSD has never had a failure in any series, whether for ASA, CRA. They're going to check, as mentioned before, the battery. But then you wonder what happened to Winchester 100. Run out of fuel? I mean, yes, there's a minimum fuel that you have to go to put it in the car, but maybe there's a fuel pressure issue, struggling to go ahead and get that going. They can make adjustments, they can make changes, but for Chris Shannon and the whole team that wanted to go to victory lane today, this is going to put a big wrench in some plans.
Yeah, 2nd in points a year ago was Chris Shannon out of Lawton, Michigan. I'm just wondering if he's going to make it back out at all. These laps are going quickly. We are not counting caution laps. We are on lap 55 now. We'll resume the race with Derek Cross, the leader for all the laps thus far. Tyler Lupton has had his hands full a few times. Chris Shannon's been right there with him, and now he's in the pits, so we've kind of shaken up the order up front here. The number 14 of Chase Pinsino, the number 8 of Jaden Johnson, who we were talking about how loose that car was. Maybe he's waiting for a little more shade on the racetrack to get his number 8 going forward.
I think the same could be said for Tyler Lupton. We saw that car sliding a couple of times on exit, and for Shannon, you can kind of see him get pushed. There's a crew member
playing with some switches there, Bob.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to actually switch the ignition box out on Chris Shannon's machine. You see it live on FloRacing. They just took one out, and they're bringing another one in because this car had no power whatsoever. The officials are here making sure that everything is done properly, but that's the problem for Chris Shannon. They had to change the ignition box on this 32.
Now, this has happened once already this year, but that was with Albert Francis. You naturally go for the ignition box at first because you don't want to have to pull the hood up. You don't want to have to go and waste a lot of time if you think it could be something that's a quick fix. But when Albert Francis pulled back onto the racetrack, they realized it wasn't an ignition issue. We've seen that even at Dominion with the ASA Stars National Tour of Bubba Pollard. They usually check the ignition box, then the battery, and you know what? If it's still not fixed, then it's something internal, and they have to go ahead and pull the hood up.
Yep. More work to be done, and the work is in the pits as we go back to racing at Slinger Super Speedway. 45 laps remain in the Fire Suppression Solutions 100 presented by the Wisconsin Freemasons. Wisconsin's Derek Cross leads us back to green in the number 9.
Tyler Lupton went fastest in qualifying earlier today. We know he has the speed. Can he keep all 4 tires pointed well with the grip underneath them? Still side by side with Kraus to turns 1 and 2.
Second straight restarts that we've really seen that outside line get going, and Kraus, when he's not able to use up all the racetrack on exit, getting a little bit free. Lupton still trying to hang on the right rear quarter. Did he have enough to try and cross him over? They're side by side for third as well. Kraus clear to the lead for now.
2 laps ago, I thought Pincinot was going to be a matter of contention for the lead. Now he's got his hands still trying to hang on to third, as here comes the emerging Jaden Johnson up to third in the number 8.
Pincinot's going to try a switchback, but it's going to get dropped off. Tyler Lupton, 15-year-old, trying to win his first ever Turn 1 CRA Pro Series race. But man, oh man, is Derek Kraus quick. Picked up the gas and dropped it off to about a car length and a half.
And again, 1 and 2, Lupton's able to keep up, but it's really off at turn 4 that you could see how strong that 9 car is. Lupton, again, I think fighting a little bit tight, a little bit loose off the corner. He can make up for that 1 and 2, use the banking up onto the backstretch, but can't quite do it at 3 and 4.
Sam Johnson trying to get that 5th spot secured from Billy Van Meter, racing side by side for 5th. Johnson started on the front row. Billy Van Meter, a quick spin. He's saying, wait a minute, I was ready to call a spin there. Billy was sideways at turn 3.
And Albert Francis will sneak through. He'll get a spot. He could get 2. Van Meter's got company in front of you as well. If you were in a position half a lap ago, you better focus on what's next, because things happen quick here at Slinger.
And again, you can't really appreciate how light of contact that was that got him out of shape. As here's the battle for second with Tyler Lupton and Johnson. Jaden Johnson in that 8 car firing off well. Pincinot still there. Derek Kraus, meanwhile, driving away about a straightaway or so here at Slinger. But Jaden Johnson looking really strong right now.
Lupton, first time here. Last year, Jaden Johnson not only raced here as a rookie, he won the championship in the late models at Slinger. He came here 2 weeks ago and put some laps on the car for the first time this year. But he also told me, I am really happy with how my car practiced on older tires. And it's coming to form here in the number 8.
And you got to think about Chase Pincinot. Why does he need a good run today? He's running the full season. He's currently the championship leader. He knows on the quarter miles, he excels a little bit better than drivers that he's going to be competing with when they go to the half miles, when they go to the 3/8 at Owasso Speedway. July 22nd for the Masters of the Pros 200, that being Blake Rowe as the first one that comes to mind for Pincinot. A great day today, could stretch that lead before the Winchester 100.
And all it took was 1 lap or so. You get a great look at Jaden Johnson and then a number 8 car. Heard earlier from Bob Dillner that he was a little bit loose, and those last couple of laps I've been looking to try to see his hands work in that race car, and there's more turning right now than there is turning left in that race car. So he's letting that thing sail off in there. He's one of the few drivers that are really complaining about being free in right now.
We are clicking away serious laps here, under 30 to go. Let's check back in with Bob Dillner.
I'll tell you what, guys, I'm very impressed with Tyler Lupton in that number 4, just 15 years old. You know, runner around micros for so many years, experience on dirt, pavement, Berlin Raceway. But he told me this transition to Slinger is just something else. It's something that he did not expect. He's used to flat racetracks, and maybe he said up to 14, 15 degrees of banking, but nothing like this. Chris Shannon slowing, going off the racetrack, but Lupton is really learning, and you can see from the beginning of the race when he fell back to where he is now, he has progressed nicely learning this racetrack.
Let's go ahead and take a moment and talk about our Chevrolet driver spotlight driver in Albert Francis. Driver number 33 running in the 6th position. Last year he decided to make the transition to full-time with the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series after winning the Winchester 100, his first ever win with the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series. But boy, what a turnaround he has had since the first part of the year. Didn't get the start he wanted after mechanical issues at Owasso Speedway, but rallied back for a top 5 at Flat Rock, and so far with an amazing run. This is setting him up for what the big goal this year is, and that's going to Owasso Speedway for the Masters of the Pros 200 and winning a green jacket. We are also getting an update here that Chris Shannon is out of the race for the electrical issue. It was nothing to do with the MSD ignition box. Chris Shannon out in the 17th position.
Things race on without Chris Shannon, one of the contenders this year, one of the full-timers in this Turn 1 CRA Pro Series, presented by Chevrolet Performance. Tyler Lupton, the 15-year-old, figuring out the upper lane. It's working for him right now on that black and green number 4.
And it's holding up Jaden Johnson. It's also holding up Pinsino in that number 14 car, hoping that these two somehow can sort it out. And you often see that sometimes in Slinger. You get 1 or 2 cars that are battling together. The third car approaches, and there's not enough racing room for him to really be strong enough to go on the outside or the inside of these cars. So hoping these two sort it out. Another slow one.
Sam Johnson off the pace. That car was really slow in turn 1.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see he was able to nurse it back to the pits. We stay green.
And you just wonder what internally also does not work for him and other drivers doing so good to start the year.
He came in 4th in points too.
Yep.
Really strong start to the year for Sam. Starting in the front row here. Didn't have the handling. Maybe something else going. I see some tire smoke, boys. Jaden Johnson and Lupton are not happy right now.
No, and
they were in the same lane.
That's what's tough about Jaden Johnson being loose and trying to make that pass on the inside. You're having to cut off your exit a little bit, and it's just making it really difficult. I think Tyler Lupton, yes, he's figuring out that outside line. He's finding a little bit of grip in that resin, but Johnson on the flip side, it's harder to pass with a looser race car on the bottom here at Slinger.
I think Lupton picked up on that. No question. Yeah, they have team spotters, but Lupton's able to kind of hold off Jaden Johnson if there's any chance to sneak in there. It takes Johnson a few laps just to get back to the number 4. And here lapping around Sahutsky's number 5. They got to get right back in rhythm here.
Johnson definitely has the speed over Lupton, but lap traffic plays a role, puts a fender underneath into turns 3 and 4, and Lupton shut the door on his hand. It allows Chase Pinsino to maybe have a shot for position.
And by the way,
right across the knuckles, boys. That one had to hurt a little bit for Johnson.
Yeah, and you're not missing a thing up front. In fact, Derek Kraus is loving what he's seeing. He just doesn't want one of these boys to go around. 3.5 seconds now, the gap that Derek Kraus has built up over this battle for second. That continues into turn 3. Almost some contact there between these two.
Yeah, Lupton's certainly got a little more defensive in his line, but I love the fact that Johnson's putting the pressure on. They're not dialing each other out. They're not, jacking each other up on the racetrack. They're racing for it here. A couple of teenagers. 15-year-old Lupton, 17-year-old Johnson.
Young guns going at it, and usually when push comes to shove, it turns into shine. You saw Jaden Johnson really loose in the center of turns 1 and 2. Look at Pinsino, he's just watching them. He's waiting for one big mistake where he can go ahead and maybe jump for a spot. He's like a predator in the tall grass.
Oh man, every lap off the corner you can see Johnson wheeling it and still being able to pull up alongside the 4, and Lupton.
There's the chance. There it is. He got too high in turn 4, guys. Got that ramp transition, got Jaden the spot. Lupton went too high in turn 4 by about 1.5 feet.
On the nose of Pinsino. Pinsino gives him a jab as well. They'll cross the stripe and fight to turn 1.
Now these cars get so light when you hit them in the middle of the corner. It was just the slightest bump to Pinsino to the back of the 4 car to get him out of shape. Lupton's going to be able to hold on, but that's all it took. And Jim, you were talking about it. Things happened so fast here, just that little bump, and now Johnson is gone from these two.
And these two teenagers went at it at the Big O Classic at Owasso Speedway. Lupton finished 4th, Pinsino finished 5th. They're both chasing the championship, racing once again, side by side here at Slinger.
Pinsino should have the edge to the inside of turn 3. Lupton late on the brake, was able to roll the center a little bit better, but this side-by-side action phenomenal with 3 laps to go.
Great room here again. Lupton has been the outside guy. He's on the outside the entire race. It's been working for him. The only way Jaden Johnson got by was with Lupton going a bit too high for turn 4 one time.
2 to go. This is all happening deep behind Derek Kraus.
And white flag in the air, Derek Kraus over 3.5 seconds clear of the field. He's looking for his first Slinger Nationals tomorrow night. He'll start the weekend off with a victory in the CRA Pro Series. Derek Kraus wins tonight at Slinger.
Led them all, and certainly had an easier time than most here, conquering this racetrack for the first time the series has visited this track. The only other visit for the series and the entirety of the series in the Badger State was back at the Milwaukee Mile several years ago. And Derek Kraus proving again that he loves to race at Slinger Super Speedway. Another top 5 finish. I think that's like 9 in a row if you consider the Super Late successes he's had. And his dad has been in every one of his races, so he knows more than Derek does. It's his first ever pro late model race. Comes home in a victory.
And think about how emotional they were after the Appalachian Sucker Punch ASA Stars National Tour win at Newport. How about winning here in his home state?
It's a big deal. It means a lot to this young driver. Again, looking for a NASCAR opportunity. He raced in a couple races last year in the NASCAR Cup Series. This year he has yet to race in a NASCAR National Series while living in Charlotte, working with Chevrolet and several teams on their preparation with sims and talking to engineers and staying active that way. his successes have come here in the super late model ranks, and once again shining brightly in front of a home state crowd.
He was able to stretch out that lead to nearly 4 seconds, so dominating fashion here for Derek Kraus. Pretty much led from the drop of the green flag. Got a little bit of a challenge there from 32 Shannon, who unfortunately is not able to complete this one. Finishes in 17th for Chris Shannon.
Boy, some championship contenders finishing outside the top 10. That's going to be big when they head off to the Masters of the Pros on Wednesday night, July 22nd, to determine who indeed will be in contention. We know who won tonight. Let's hear from him with Bob Dillner.
Derek Kraus in victory lane with the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series in their debut at Slinger Super Speedway. He's going to run a super late model tomorrow night, but his first attempt at a pro late model, Derek Kraus wins at his home track of Slinger. Confetti in the air. A dominant performance, but you had some heat put on you there in the last half of that race. How nervous were you with some of those challengers?
Yeah, I mean, I took the bottom, probably should have been taking the top, but I had success on the bottom the first couple restarts and just was able to get it going again on the bottom. So it took a little bit for the car to fire in, but once it did, Alex and Butch and Ed and Billy, they got a really great race car. So thankful to drive their car and good start to the weekend.
So what do you think about these pro late models now here at Slinger?
They're fun, a lot of throttle time for sure. I felt like there was absolutely no fall off. So definitely had to just kind of go as hard as you could and hope it lasts, and luckily it did.
Is there anything you can learn from this race to apply to tomorrow at all in a different style race car?
Yeah, just seat time. This place is really important to get a lot of laps at, as many laps as you possibly can. So laps is important, and to be able to run an extra 100 compared to everybody else is really good.
Tomorrow night, Derek Kraus will try to pull off the double here at Slinger.
So the series represented well by drivers from across the upper Midwest. First time for Derek Kraus to race in the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series. One of 6 Wisconsin drivers. 5 of them never raced in the series before. So that's a great way to say, let's take our series where we can grow it. Let's get those guys interested. Let's get another car on the racetrack fielded by a team out of Michigan to run some Wisconsin drivers and get more involvement and increase the competition. And Kraus proved superior tonight with that Van Dorn chassis.
And I really like that you mentioned that, because this was the first time the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series presented by Chevrolet Performance has ever been to Slinger, but they've been to the state of Wisconsin before. 2014. I believe it was a Milwaukee Mile where they came on out here, and this is a big opportunity. The big question is now, what do the fans think? We're going to check social media. What do the drivers think? Before we even drop the green flag, you know what drivers are saying? We come back next year?
We have one caution.
Yeah.
Other than the competition caution. There was some really good racing going on. I hope they come back. That's really, really a good deal. Let's go back down trackside with Bob Dillner.
Maybe a big if for Jaden Johnson. The if is if you got a caution once you got to second. Was that on your mind as the checkers flew?
Yeah, for sure. It was on my mind. I knew we had a fast car. When I listened to my guys, I ended up running faster. And I ran one of my fastest laps of the race on lap 95. So, I mean, we were just learning and getting better every day. And just can't do it without Casey Johnson, my whole crew, and my sponsors, Johnson Sons Paving, Wisco Oils, Ignego Ready Mix, Landon Stone. Just can't do it without any of them.
You looked really good. You're a little free in for most of that race, but what was Casey telling you to get better and better inside that car?
I had to stop overdriving the car into 3. Yeah, that was my main problem. I was getting free because I was overdriving the car, thinking I had more than I did. But overall, it ended up okay. Sure would have liked to won, but it is what it is.
Jaden Johnson, he's learning that racecraft. That's what Casey Johnson told me, but a very good run for him here today. Tyler Lupton, Chase Pinsino. Good finishes for both of these guys here today. Tyler, you set fast time. What did you learn out of that 100-lap race?
Yeah, I just haven't raced here before, so wasn't really sure what to expect, and it was great racing. I had a lot of fun. I can't thank CRA for putting on this great show. Yeah, I just was a little tight off at the end, and I mean, we were able to hang with them for quite a bit there towards the end, and we ended up getting 3rd, so that was a pretty good finish. Can't thank all the Van Dorn guys enough for giving me a great car tonight.
This kid's got something in him. He's going to be a star here in this full-bodied super late model and pro late model world.
Tyler Lupton, the 15-year-old, learned a lot tonight. great to see that he was able to persevere in that outside lane. I think a lot of teams were watching what's going to change as the temperature's cool. We're going nighttime racing tomorrow night. So that was an opportunity for the teams that are watching that are super late teams. How is the second groove holding up when the track cools off a little bit? Because it's going to be hot tomorrow. If these replicate conditions for tomorrow night, I'd love to prove that outside lane can work.
Yeah, it was every restart that we saw there late where Derek Krause had to fend off the 32 at Shannon before he had his electrical issues, that second lane, at least on the restarts, could get going. Couldn't quite get clear, but Jonathan, I think that's enough to at least keep up with him.
Let's go back down to Bob.
Over here with Chase Pinsino, who had a good top 5 run. We were just talking about this racetrack. First of all, how much fun was this?
It was a lot of fun. It's hard to pass. These pro cars don't have a lot of motors, so definitely tough, but it opens up for some really good racing. Ran side by side with the 4-car and a few other cars in the field, so definitely hope we can come back.
It looked like at one point in the race, maybe mid-part, you had the best car on the racetrack. Did things change a little bit in that second half?
I just think track position. The restart didn't really go the way we wanted. The call really wasn't what it should have been, we don't think, but there's nothing you can do about that. We rallied back, raced the best we could. Just track position, it's so tough to get it. Felt like CHR gave me the best car they could, just didn't have it in us tonight.
Chase Pinsino with the win in the most recent race prior to this one at Flat Rock for the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series. Albert Francis stretching out his back a little bit after a rough one here. I tell you what, watching this 33 car, it was a lot of fun near the end of that race because you were in quite a number of battles.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We just needed to qualify better. It's just simple as that. We burnt stuff up coming through the field, but I mean, the place is a lot of fun, just really hard to pass. I mean, most of the passing was done on restarts or if somebody fell off real bad, but that doesn't normally happen in this kind of racing anymore. So, but a lot of fun. Thanks for getting this on Slinger Nationals weekend, and just wish my dad was here, and thank everybody for coming out and all my sponsors.
Albert Francis in that 33 car, man, he's been around these ranks for a long time. Him and his family have meant so much to this series. And guys, I just want to note that
we saw how the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series can perform tomorrow night after we went through the bracket challenge. If you are just tuning in now, you need to go back in time. You need to see how we developed, we being the benefactors about Slinger Speedway, FloRacing. Track officials got together and said, let's do something besides just a pill draw on qualifying order. Let's make them earn it. They're all going to mock up anyway. That bracket challenge was cool.
It was. It was different. We heard a lot of the teams and drivers. Again, when you throw something new at a lot of race teams, sometimes they can be a little bit hesitant, but I think they were very positive about it. And, of course, you got to watch it on FloRacing 24/7, which if you are watching on FloRacing 24/7, thank you for tuning in with us this afternoon, and make sure that after this exclusive look of everything that we usually have on FloRacing, you go and sign up or visit floracing.com to access thousands of races live and on demand, because we don't want you to miss what's going to happen tomorrow. It's going to be a great show. And there's the QR code.
Yep, there it is. So scan that QR code. You can find information about how you can sign up, because I love the fact that Flo has, 28 different sports. When I'm bored on a weeknight, I want to go to FloRacing, and then I'm going everywhere else on Flo to find out some really cool sporting events of all levels.
I've been keeping up with Drum Corps International, Flo Marching.
Yeah.
Even that's a thing. So, they got just about everything.
So that's where you'll be able to see tomorrow night's Slinger Nationals race. You must subscribe to Flo, but, boy, we really had fun bringing it tonight on the FloRacing 24/7 channel. What a bunch of fun this was tonight. So we're going to race on tomorrow night, a open competition, 20 grand to win, best super late models in the country, coming here to Slinger Super Speedway for the 47th annual Cobblestone Slinger Nationals. Our coverage begins at 4:30 Central. Jonathan Ramos, thanks for dipping in. Where are you guys headed next in the Turn 1 CRA Pro Series?
It's time to find out who's going to be the Master of the Pros. The Masters of the Pros 200 at Owasso Speedway. That'll be Wednesday, July 22nd. Guess who's racing? Kevin Harvick, Keelan Harvick. Already 20-plus entries lined up with, we know, many more to come. It's going to be a big show. It's going to be a packed house, and it was the highest attended race at Owasso Speedway last year. Almost had to go ahead and stop holding people at the gate. They just had to go home almost.
Get here tomorrow morning. Gates open at 11:30 if you're going to be here with us at Slinger Super Speedway. Blake, I've had a bunch of fun. I'm going to take about a 20-minute nap and be back right here for tomorrow's action.
Yeah, you're not going to sleep very well tonight, are you?
Not too excited. Too excited. Way too excited. It's the Nationals, baby.
Well, again, thank you on behalf of our entire hardworking FloRacing crew. On behalf of Bob Dillner down in the pits, Jonathan Ramos, Jim Trado, I'm Blake McCandless saying so long For tonight from Slinger, Wisconsin, we bid you farewell. Congratulations to tonight's winner of the CRA Pro Series and Derek Kraus, and we look forward to bringing you coverage of the 47th Annual Cobblestone Hotels Slinger Nationals tomorrow night. But for now, good night. We'll see you tomorrow.